Has every member recorded their presence? Madam Clerk.
16 present, 8 absent.
Mine didn't light up. See y'all next month.
For the record, Commissioner King is here. In every way. Mind, body, and spirit.
I'm here too.
We have a quorum. County Commission meeting is in session. Our first order is proclamation in recognition of Human Trafficking Awareness Day. Is anyone here to accept that proclamation? I don't see anyone here, but I'd like to recognize County Clerk to read the proclamation.
Whereas human trafficking occurs when a person is recruited, enticed, harbored, transported, provided, purchased, or obtained through force, fraud, or coercion for the purpose of performing labor or providing services, labor trafficking, or engaging in commercial sex acts, sex trafficking. Whereas it is estimated that approximately 27.6 million people are trafficked around the world, and as many as 2,900 in East Tennessee alone. Whereas human trafficking erodes personal safety, dignity, and liberty, as well as the health and safety of communities at large. Whereas human trafficking does not discriminate based on age, sex, race, color, or national origin, but is, however, grounded in the political conditions of relationships in society and disproportionately affects vulnerable individuals and marginalized communities. Whereas the need is great to remove the veil of secrecy that allows human trafficking to thrive, disrupt the system that depends upon it to flourish, and mobilize community support around survivors of human trafficking and help them as they seek to recover and rebuild their lives. Whereas a unified response by allied professionals, law enforcement, prosecutors, judges, victim service providers, healthcare professionals, volunteers, and others is needed to provide safety, justice, and healing to survivors, hold offenders accountable, and promote the welfare of the community. Whereas the Tennessee Counter-Trafficking Alliance, through the Community Coalition Against Human Trafficking in East Tennessee, exists to educate Tennesseans about the reality and pervasiveness of human trafficking, foster cooperative intervention and prevention efforts, provide comprehensive trauma-informed aftercare services to survivors, and advocate for more proactive legislation. Whereas during Human Trafficking Awareness Month, throughout the year, Sullivan County has provided an opportunity to celebrate the collaboration and work that has been done while rededicating ourselves to all that is still left to do, to reflect upon and honor the resilience, perseverance, and courage of survivors, and to urge everyone to recognize that we all have an active part to play in protecting the most vulnerable in our communities, and ensuring survivors receive the care, support, and services they need. Now therefore be it resolved that the Mayor of Sullivan County, Tennessee does hereby proclaim the month of January 2025 as Human Trafficking Awareness Month, and January 11th, 2020. Should that be 2024? January 11, 2025 is Human Trafficking Awareness Day, aligning with the state of Tennessee and the rest of the nation in renewing our pledge to remember victims and survivors of human trafficking, and in reaffirming our commitment to end their exploitation in communities across Sullivan County. Subscribe this 16th day of January 2025.
Thank you, Madam Clerk, and we'll make sure that gets to the right people. Our next order, recognize Mr. Clay Walker from Networks.
Good evening to everyone. John, do you have the PowerPoint ready to go? I'm just kidding, we don't have a PowerPoint. He checked very thorough. John does a good job of checking, and we assured him that he didn't have a PowerPoint, so I was having fun with it. This is my quarterly visit, and I guess more so my annual visit, as we are still hanging on to January, and our hopefully you all received via email the link to our annual reports this year, and if not, you can find it on our website. If you have trouble finding it and you got a lot of time, you call me and I can find it. If you have trouble finding it, you don't have a lot of time, call Abby and she'll get you there a lot quicker than I will. You know, obviously this year, what everybody always wants to talk about, and we try to go a little beyond that in our reporting, is what was announced, what companies expanded, what companies came, and we had 4 companies that we worked with along with our partners in Kingsport and Bristol and Hawkins County. A.Y. McDonald, which we kept that company from going to out of state and kept it for northeastern Tennessee, and it would grow enabled them to grow another 100 to 200 jobs because of the land that BTS had developed. That was a great win for all of northeast Tennessee. Vulcan Thermal was the company we recruited in Hawkins County. Share Logistics was kind of a neat project because we worked with Stephen Bauer in Kingsport as well as the folks in Hawkins County. They did part of the project in Kingsport on the campus of Eastman and part of it in Fifth Bend. And then O'Neill Manufacturing was a company that Stephen Bauer in Kingsport actually brought to us and said he's got a lead and would like for us to help him with it, and we did, and that's a very nice project. So all told, I think that told us about 450 jobs and $67 million in investment, and not a bad year. But when you look beyond that, and you look, and we heard a lot about last several years about more regional numbers, but when you look, we monitor Sullivan County's numbers primarily, along with some Hawkins, and our wages across Sullivan County went up 5.2% last year for the citizens of Sullivan County. And that might not sound like a lot, but the national average is about half of that. And so that's pretty good. The total employment increase is also a number that won't knock you over, but it's twice what you'd expect in the national average. And that's a 2.2% increase. The number that I find remarkable, because we've been tracking our county's GDP year over year for the past 10 years since I've been there. It's always been outperforming our population a little bit, our size of the county, and it still is. But we're the 7th highest economy in the state, and we're not the 7th biggest county in the state. But our county GDP, and these run a year behind, so it's actually reported in 24, but it was for 23. Was $10.7 billion. I mean, that's something that's bigger than Maury County and a lot of counties you would, Blount County. It's bigger than a lot of counties that you would think with the companies you look at they have there. But anyway, we're very proud of those numbers. And so, all in all, it was a great year. It was a great year for, again, I saw Chuck Hart earlier. We in our annual report, you had time to go through it. We tout things we did, but as well as what our partners, our integral partners do. And certainly our school systems have done great things with, we were able to work with Sullivan County Schools, with BTS, with the City of Bristol, for TDA Workforce Development Grant for virtual headsets for virtual learning. And what Northeast State continues to do for us, and last year, of course, they were named by DBR as the #1 community college in our state, which is no small feat. So we're very proud of all those things. I also want to point out, because you guys are such a part of it, that we've got working with those partners for about $150,000 in workforce development grants right now, and we are still working on about $3.5 million in site development grant, and we have about I think 76 acres we're currently working on development with y'all support financially and otherwise, and we appreciate it. So another good year, another good report. We're never satisfied. The day we are is the day we need to find somebody else to come in and do it, because we always want a few more is how we're wired. Anyway, I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have about the report or about anything else.
Thank you, Mr. Walker. Anyone seek recognition? Commissioner Glover.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Clay, appreciate you coming up tonight and giving us an update like you did and all the information. But I'd like to ask you a question. I know you were here last week and we had a guest that come in and spoke to us about the airport situation again, and I'd like to ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
We were told last week at the workshop that in a 6-year period of time, that was trying to move forward in 6 years to get airline service at the airport. In 6 years of time, how many times were you asked, or how many times were you approached about providing that service?
Well, it's not really something that we focus on, Commissioner. I think a lot of confusion. I think another comment that Mr. Cosby, who I know is here tonight, he's been at the airport for 6 years now or so. And I'd heard, because of school being out, we weren't able to get the YouTube video, so I was unable to watch it. I've heard a comment that we were asked, to do a role similar to what the bridge is currently doing. And I went to Gene and asked where that comment came from, because I certainly didn't recall being asked that. If I were asked the question, can you do this, can you help us recruit an airline flat out in that context, then I would have said, it's not what we do, it's not something I would unilaterally say no to. And in talking to Gene, went by his office, and he recalled a conversation that we had some years ago. I think he said 4 to 5 years ago, we probably had a conversation where he was talking about the airport's limitations to offer the money necessary to be that stopgap guarantee for airlines in recruiting them. The regulations forbade them to do that. And Gene's welcome to come up if I say this wrong at all, because I very well could, because I don't have recollection of it. But when Gene told me that, I said, that sounds exactly like a conversation I would have had that position. And then he talked about he's not in a position to go to other counties. He can't come up here and ask you, hey, we're going to split this up. Can you give me 10,000 a month, guarantee 10,000 a month or 4,000 a month or whatever. He can't do that until we do that. And as he reminded me of a conversation was that I said, I don't really think networks would be, the CEO of networks or anybody networks would be in a position to go to Washington County, Carter County, or any other county and ask them for money on behalf of the airport. In fact, I think we would probably do them more harm than good if we did that. But I think there was confusion. It wasn't a flat out ask for us to take the road of the bridge. It was just asking more about our services. Many commissioners have asked me if we were asked to manage money that would go to reimburse, are we capable to do that? Yes, we absolutely are capable of doing that. We haven't been asked to do that. It's not something I desire to do. But I think that I've been asked in, like the game of phone tap, where you go around. It's gotten to me about 4 different ways. So I want to be very clear, as I told many of you in private conversations, I have absolute trust in Gene Cosby and everybody who is working on the airport and working at the airport. Trevor Rice, Christy Halsey, who is now a consultant with them. I certainly think Pete Hunt, when I know of them as a consulting firm, are top notch. And when those people tell me that this is a good deal for the airport, I believe them, you know, because that's not my lane, that's their lane, and I find them all to be really, really good at what they do. And so I want to be clear on that. There's no he said with Gene and me. It's just, you know, again, the game of phone tag that gets around 3 or 4 times is a different recollection. But to answer the question that was asked of me prior, no, we were not asked to fill this road. Did I have a conversation, Gene, 4 years ago, your call? I'm certain we did, but it just wasn't on point to what we're talking about the past several months.
There's a handout.
Did that answer your question?
There's a handout on our desk here tonight from Bridge. If you look at item number 4 in there, it says Bridge will provide invoice from Bridge to Sullivan County for each period described in the airline payment request per MRG. Processing of MRG funds and payment to airline. Updates to commission as requested. That's something that networks could do. Any questions?
We can handle money. I'm not asking to handle money. Could we take money and be invoiced for the money, review invoices and be sure of that? Yeah, we could. I don't know if it's a necessary step. I'm not here to endorse that it is. But flat answer your question, we could. I think other entities could do that.
So
Do we have the staff to oversee this whole project or the expertise? Not at all. Not at all.
Recognize Commissioner Means.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just had a quick question. Is the network, the meetings you all have with the network, are those public? Is the public able to attend those meetings?
Yes, 100%.
Okay,
They are the second Wednesday of every month at 8 o'clock in Northeast State and Rapid.
okay. That's it.
And we're putting anybody on the invitation list that wants to be on. All you have to do is email me or Abby Meese, and she'll put you on our distribution list.
Where at this day?
It's in the new IT building in the back of the building. When we do the invite, we have to. That the name just jumps out of my head.
Okay. I have no other questions. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Commissioner Iverson.
Thank you, Mr. Walker. So a little bit farther on what we're talking about there. So there's more to this than sending an invoice, and it says that in this letter that Commissioner Weber talked about. So your organization could negotiate with the airline, could sign a contract with the airline, could ask the other entities for money and get the $2 million together. You're saying that you could do that?
I didn't say we could do that. I don't know that we could do that, but it's not our desire to do that. I don't think we'd be good, the right people, to go talk to other counties and be the face of a project like that. If I were Gene, just to be frank, I would not seek networks doing that. That's why I was surprised to hear that, as it was construed to me, that we were asked to do it.
Okay.
Because I think Gene's a lot smarter than to do that.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Commissioner Reagan.
Thank you, Chairman. So I want to take a different route. I've beat up that proposition for 3 meetings in a row. We've got a big industrial park at the airport.
Yes, sir.
So I do think any opportunity we have that shines light on the airport in a positive manner is good. Any new routes would help that. But what's going on with that, Jeff? I mean, I know you can't say anything, but just how's that?
We're feeling great about that. I'm glad, and thank you for bringing that up. Because again, I work very closely with Gene and Mark Canty on that. And we have a few leads that have gone really slow. And a lot of things have slowed down the past several months project. And we have some leads that have gone very slow that were brought to us by the state. And we don't really know where we are. Or, you know, it was networks that founded the consultant at JLL, formed a relationship, called Gene, said, Gene, we think this is the guy that you guys have been looking for, and we partner with them. We pay half those expenses. We go to trade shows with the airport. I said at our annual meeting, and I think Gene would agree with me, since we run, his name is David Lauderer, and he's been aerospace market specialist for many years with JLL, which is one of the 4 biggest consulting firms in the world. he has upped our game, and he's brought us leads, one right now that we've got information on. So, you know, whenever many of you were on the commission, some of you weren't, when we were talking about adding that final piece of funding to get aerospace complete, and some of you came to me, I remember one of them was former Mayor Scholl, who was on this commission, he came to me and said, what are we looking at here? And I said, if I had to estimate, and this was pre-COVID, a lot of things, right? The world's changed drastically over the last 5 years. But I said, I would anticipate when the park is absolutely finished, that in 3 to 5 years, we can have a tenant there. Now, things have slowed since then, but I think the park's been done about 3 years now. And we're not as close as I would have thought we might be at that point. But again, circumstances change. I still think it's the right direction, and there will be community changing, region changing companies located there that are going to take us to a whole other level. You know, I just mentioned how successful when you look at GDP and other aspects, and I really regret the timing of this because I wanted a nice focus to be on that. And I understand this is the real world, and that what I want doesn't always happen. It really gets me very excited to be a part of that because our county's done well, we can always do better. And I have thought one of the reasons I came here 11 years ago was at the prospect of finishing that park and what kind of projects that I would be able to be a part of if I was at Networks and working with the airport and our other partners. And so nobody wants to announce a big project there more than me, more than Gene. I promise you that. But the work there, I've been doing this 30 years, and I still very much believe in that park and feel very good. I thought from the start, what I worry about that park is political pressure, especially with the money that we grab somebody that really isn't an ideal tenant there. But we just have to stay the course and let that park be everything that park can be, and if it is, I think we're going to be looking back in 10 to 15 years and saying it was one of the smartest things that this region ever did, was developing that park. Thank you. You're welcome.
Anyone else seek recognition? Questions for Mr. Walker? Mr. Walker, it's always great to have you with us.
It's always my pleasure. Thank you all for your support, always. You know how to get a hold of me, and I can't tell you how proud I and the staff all are to represent you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. Next order, approval of commission meetings of December 12, 2024, rezoning hearing work session meeting, and December 19th regular session meeting. Spread on your desk for the minutes. Motion to approve by Commissioner Jones, second by Commissioner Crawford. Any discussion on the minutes is printed. Without objection, when the board opens, please cast your vote on the approval of commission minutes. Has every member voted? Any member wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk.
21 yes, 3 absent.
Having received the necessary majority of the votes cast, the commission minutes are approved. Next order, approval of notaries. Madam Clerk, we have a list of notaries. Madam Clerk.
Aaron A. Anderson, Jonna Rochelle Borders, Melanie Bucher, Jana Burnett, Richard Keith Clark, Michael B. Cole, Teresa Ann Collins, Cynthia A. Gressel, Brandy R. Ross, Sharon Monette Curley, Amanda Hutchins, Katie R. McInnes, Cody Benjamin Pace, Kathy Cross Patrick, Elizabeth Roden, Anne Marie Simons, Angela Michelle Smith, Phoebe Mackenzie Smith, Vicky Spanichel, C. Brad Sproles, Ashley Sumner Todd, Sharon U. Eden, Mark Anthony Vance, Jennifer Ray Vaughn. And there are no bonds to be approved tonight.
You've heard the list of notaries. Anyone seek recognition for discussion on the list of notaries? Commissioner Slade.
Thank you, Chairman Garber, just abstain for cause.
And just so you know, anytime you abstain for cause, if one person abstains for cause, that reduces the necessary majority by one. Mr. Cole?
Abstain for cause.
We've just reduced the necessary majority by two. Having two people abstaining for cause, the necessary majority will be 11. Without, excuse me? I think procedurally you can. I mean, are you wanting to box somebody?
I think Andrew Cross is one of my
Are you wishing to bump somebody off?
I thought that.
I didn't think I'd ever ask that. Are you wishing to bump somebody off?
I've changed.
But procedurally, I mean, that could probably be a thing. When the board opens, please cast your vote on the approval of notaries requiring only 11 votes for passage. Has every member voted? Any member wish to change their vote?
19 yes, 2 abstain, 3 absent.
Having received the necessary majority of the votes cast, notaries are approved. Without objection, next order is public comment on agenda-related items. If you would like to sign up to speak on the agenda or non-agenda related items, we have 2 sign-up sheets over there. So if anyone would like to sign either one of those, you can. First, agenda-related items. Invite, and forgive me if I mispronounce your name, Kelly Burgess. Kelly.
Bourgeois.
Bourgeois.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Recognize you, and just for everyone, recognize you for 3 minutes, uninterrupted, and if there's any clarifying questions, I will allow clarifying questions. Ma'am, you're recognized for 3 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. Kelly Bourgeois, I'm the City Manager for Bristol, Tennessee. I appreciate the time this evening. Just very quickly, in regards to Resolution 2024-12-16, it's been coming to my attention fairly frequently over this last week that there's an understanding that the City of Bristol has fully expressed support for the new air service and the county's contribution to that air service, and that Bristol will be contributing. And I just want to clarify, that has not come to our Bristol City Council to this point. So our Bristol City Council has neither spoken about, discussed, or voted on any support for air service, additional air service to the Tri-Cities Airport. Doesn't mean they wouldn't in the future, but I just want to make it clear that to this point, they have not been asked, nor have they had that discussion or taken a vote on that request or that item. And that's all I really wanted to clarify for this evening.
Does anyone have any questions for Ms. Thank you very much.
Thank you
for
very
being
much.
here. Malin Luttrell.
Mr. Chair, do this at the end of the meeting.
We're in our public comment on agenda-related items. Is it pertaining to an agenda-related item?
It would be, depending on the outcome of the conversation.
Our procedure is to recognize you right now.
Okay,
Recognize you for 3 minutes, sir.
Thank you. My name is Michael Luttrell. I live at 224 Memory Lane, Bristol, Tennessee. I'm a taxpayer of the city of Bristol and Sullivan County. In reading this resolution, and the way I understand it, and the way it's written right now is that the hotel tax would fully support the $240,000. And it's also my understanding the way this is written, that it would only be the Sullivan County's portion of the hotel tax, and not Kingsport or Bristol. Bristol and Kingsport both, they worked very hard for a lot of years at building a platform for tourism. It's amazing that just in the last year or two, that how important the word tourism has come about, and you see it here on everybody's lips anymore. So it is one of the largest growing, if not the largest growing industry in the state of Tennessee. The way the resolution is written, if it stays as it is, I mean, it's Sullivan County's money, and they're welcome to do what they want to do with it. So, but if it changes to where they're talking about, or someone's trying to push through something that impacts the city of Bristol, Tennessee, then I think other conversations need to occur. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Luttrell. Maureen Christie. Glad to have you back, Matt.
Maureen Christie, a little loud, sorry. 51 Warren Road, Pine Flats. I was just coming back in regards to the resolution 2025-01-04. I had spoken last week in regards to the LED lighting. I did provide people with a couple of emails. I hope you had a chance to read them. I thank you to Ms. Haynes and Mr. Iverson because he did respond. And the reason why I wanted to come up and speak to you is because I know you just have to vote on it. So thank you for giving me that information in regards to that. I did reach out to the school board, I did talk to one of them, who said maybe they could look into it a little further. The construction company that they use, they just said that they provide you, with the information, of course, that you're gonna wanna hear, which is the efficiency as well as the cost effectiveness. But I was hoping that what you would do is go back to the school board and say to the school board, could you provide a little bit more research and maybe come up with a resolution as a compromise, and part of that compromise would be to find areas in the school where you could use incandescent lighting, such as maybe the library, maybe the offices, maybe the counselors, or maybe the principal's office, the main school office, because incandescent lighting is the only source that actually is regenerative, which I had mentioned to you before, whereas, and there was a question asked actually about can LED lights be used for red lights? The answer to that is no, because they don't have wavelengths, and the only wavelengths that are helpful for human beings is the ones that go between 570 to 800 nanometers, which is a measurement of the wavelength. If you get anything beyond that, when you get to the higher spectrum on that scale that tells you about the various nanometers, the blue light, it actually causes a reduction in oxygen, which causes a lot of the problems like retinal issues, which becomes macular degeneration, blindness, headaches, fatigue. And then I also mentioned about LED lighting has dimmers. The dimmer, actually what it does, it turns the light on and off, which causes a flicker. If you picture like a hummingbird that wings go so fast that you can't really see it, but your brain does see it. So I just wanted to tell you about a few of those things, so that way maybe they'll research it a little further and try to find some kind of, come up with some solution that would be, I know you can't use incandescent for everything. I know it's not as efficient. Hopefully that'll change, because I had said before how it's done by design, that they only last 1,000 hours, which is really unfortunate because you have LED lighting that can last up to 8,000. So that makes it more attractive. I guess that's it. Do you have any questions?
Does anyone have any questions? Mr. Banks.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Thank you for being here. Appreciate you coming and talking to us. We had an education meeting the other night, and directors of schools from Bristol and Kingsport were both here. And they both said they go through this process and replace their lights and haven't seen any negative effects. I don't dispute anything you say, but I think the LEDs are the current lighting accepted and the way of the future. So
Mr. Carter is here, and the gentleman from the Lighting Institute is here. Mark is here. I may have stepped up for a minute. But, would you want to get up and tell why the LEDs are?
Besides being efficient and cost effective.
I have, Commissioner Harvey has, but well, you have an answer to his question.
I guess the question is, are we getting proof of LEDs being harmful to anyone? Or is there documented proof of that?
Well, I sent you numerous articles with links to them, and you can look at those. There was one that I did ask you, if you didn't look at anything else, just watch that one video. Dr. Wunsch, who's a German photo expert. So he's very knowledgeable. That's his area of expertise, and photosensitivity and lighting. And so I took his information more than any of the others. If you do look at the other links that I had sent you, they also do talk about it. There was like, I can't remember the various, because I didn't bring that information with me. But there was legitimate companies that also talked about it. But if you go on with a construction company, of course, they're going to give you all the positive feedback that you want to hear. They're not going to provide you, as far as I'm concerned, with any negative impacts. And sorry, that may be not the case, but they're going to, because they want to get the business, of course. But I think in anything that you purchase is always the downside to it. And with incandescent, that's actually the way to go. I'm hoping that Senator Mike Lee, Utah's senator, does get Trump to push through incandescent. I worked actually at one time for Phillips Medical Systems, which had a lighting division, which was the Phillips Lighting Division. I know they had lobbyists that went to Washington. And I believe, and I don't know this for a fact, but I believe they really pushed the LED lighting as the way of the future, even lighting up at Times Square. But I do feel, and from what I had said to you and what I had sent to you, I think there is some proof in what I provided with you that shows there are negative implications that actually outweigh the being, cost savings and being efficient. So, I mean, you can read all those videos, you can research it as well. I think it does need a little bit of research, a little more research before it's voted on, and I would suggest actually find an expert. I'm not an expert, I'm just like an individual like yourself. But I feel just what I researched and what I found, that this is something that should be investigated more. Does that help to answer your question?
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Chairman, we'll be accepting. We'll ask Mr. Carter to come up and give his opinion.
I'm actually, we're still in the process of public comment and her question. I can recognize him separately.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Harvey. Commissioner Harvey had a question for
Thank you, Chairman.
Commissioner Means.
Thank you. So I think whenever someone brings concern to us about health, especially the health of our children in the schools, I think we need to pay attention to that. So I appreciate you bringing that forward. And in all due respect to the salesperson, I don't think that's the best person to really ask about this question. So I did do some research. I actually contacted an eye doctor that I know very well, very reputable. And here was his response to me. He said, lighting can be very complicated. LED bulbs, phones, and computers can all be sources of blue light. And there is some evidence that blue light can have some negative retinal impact. However, he said you're going to get about 500 times more blue light exposure from sunlight than from a phone or a computer. And so his bottom line to me was I personally would not object to the change in LEDs.
So I do know that with blue light, the natural blue light, such as the sun, that is the best source, and that actually causes your circadian rhythm to reset. So it is important, but when you get throughout the day, your body still thinks it's daytime, and then as the night progresses, it gets towards night, then your body is still thinking that, whether it's an iPhone, whether it's a screen, computer screen, or whether it's LED lighting. So it continues to cause that same effect. So because of that, over time, it causes a decrease in oxygen, and because of that, that's where you get the issues. So whereas the retinal damage, like I said, because actually a lot of the issues are because of lack of oxygen. So in it causing that degenerative, that degenerative to happen in your body. That's why it has such a negative impact, especially on children, because children are more vulnerable. And more of the studies are actually about adults, not so much children, of course, but we all know that children are more susceptible than adults, no matter what the issue is. So that's why I'm just saying, like, we just get more research on this before we make a decision. And then plus two, if this did pass, if it doesn't let it go back, there is still something that doesn't let it out there. But if Trump decides, okay, let's bring it back, then where are we? Maybe there is something that they'll come up with, further down the road that would, be more beneficial than just LED.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you.
Does anyone else seek recognition on agenda-related items before I move on to the non-agenda-related? Anyone else from the public wish to? Seeing none, we'll move on to the non-agenda-related items. Without objection, recognize Janine Johnley for public comment on non-agenda-related items. If anyone would like to speak to non-agenda related items, I have the list. You're more than welcome to seek recognition. Mr. John, thank you.
I left you here last month, and I was surprised you guys got to know the agenda so quickly. Okay, so good evening. My name is Janine Donnelly. I'm a public affairs specialist with the SBA, the U.S. Small Business Administration, Disaster Recovery and Resilience Division, and I'm just here to send out a reminder about our federal disaster recovery loan program that's available for small business owners in Sullivan County. So we have an economic injury disaster loan program that's available to help small businesses, small agricultural cooperatives, small businesses engaged in aquaculture, and most private nonprofit organizations of all sizes to meet their financial obligations that are in a declared disaster area. And in this case, that would be following Tropical Storm Helene. We're serving various counties, we're in Sullivan County specifically today. And the working capital loans can be used to pay fixed, debts, payroll, accounts payable, and other business-related ongoing expenses that could have been paid had the disaster not occurred. Some of the highlights that I just wanted to briefly call out are there are no payment and no interest for the first 12 months after disbursement. There are low fixed interest rates, so there are 4% for businesses and 3.25% for private nonprofits, and businesses can borrow up to $2 million to meet their financial obligations. And following the signing of the American Relief Act in December 21st, all backlog applications were processed within 6 hours, and so everyone who was waiting for their application to be processed have already had that done. So now that we've had funds replenished, we encourage everyone who may be interested to get in their applications as soon as they can. The deadline to apply for this particular loan is July 2nd, 2025. And for more information, you can go to sba.gov/disaster. I have physical flyers with me here today, and I also have digital copies that I'm happy to email to anyone who may be interested in getting more information. And I also wanted to briefly talk about a special business webinar that we're hosting next Thursday, January 3rd from 1 to 2 p.m. And we're partnering with a couple local organizations, including Operation Hope, Tennessee Economic and Community Development, and Appalachian Women's Business Center to share some disaster-related and non-disaster-related resources for all entrepreneurs in Tennessee and surrounding areas. I have business cards with me this time, so I can either give them out to anyone who's interested. I can take your email or your business card, so I can forward the invite to anyone who may be interested. And thank you all for your time. Thank you, Commissioner Gardner, for welcoming me back. And thank you for all of you who had to sit through the speech for the second time.
Does anyone have any questions for Mrs. Jolly? Mrs. Jolly, I'm going to put a couple of folks on the spot. You've got two representatives from economic development organizations here that they give them your card, and also Mr. Bailey, if you will, just stick around after the meeting.
Of course.
You can make their acquaintances.
Yes, thank you.
Anyone else seeking recognition? Without objection, the public comment portion of the agenda is closed. We're back on our regular calendar. Next order is the approval of the consent calendar. On the consent calendar, we have items 2, 3, 5, 6, and 7. Is there any objection to any of those items? Anyone wish for any of those items to be bumped off?
Number 5.
Commissioner Glover moves that item number 5 be removed from the consent calendar. 2, 3, 6, and 7 will remain. Anyone seek recognition on consent calendar? Without objection, when the board opens, please cast your vote on the consent calendar requiring unanimous consent. Has every member voted? Any member wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk.
21 yes, 3 absent.
Having received the necessary majority of the votes cast, the consent calendar is approved. Without objection, next order is consideration of resolutions. Recognize Commissioner Sullivan on item number 1.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This resolution has been around a minute, and the copy's been around for maybe a few more minutes than that. Essentially, this resolution is in support of the minimum revenue guarantee for airline incentive trustees airport, $10,000 a month over 2 years out of the county-funded portion of the hotel motel tax, up to $240,000. The resolutions hold money in trust by Sullivan County until such time as the funding is to be allocated to an organization that is to be determined by a separate resolution duly approved by the vote of Sullivan County Commission. Any questions?
You've heard the explanation on item number 1. The floor is open for discussion on item number 1. Anyone seek recognition on item number 1? Recognize Commissioner Iverson.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, I sent an email around to everyone about an amendment, and the amendment I was going to actually make on my original resolution. Try to clarify some things and clear some things up. I think a lot of that actually was clarified and cleared up by the letter that I dropped on everybody's desk from the bridge, and they had their, from last week, whenever John Rose came up and said they were going to be putting something forward, so everyone has a copy of that now as far as what they say. I was actually going to make an amendment to Commissioner Slagel's, but after I'm reading into it on a couple of things, I think it would actually, I think it jeopardizes it, and I don't want to make my amendment to this. If it's something I have to do, bring out another resolution next month or whatever I have to do, I might have to do that. But I was going to make an amendment, but I will say this, if this one were to pass, if item 1 were to pass, my opinion, whatever that's worth, my opinion, this kills it. Because with this is only talking about the funding side of it. This talks about Hunt has to do negotiation, someone has to be involved because the airport can't, someone has to sign that agreement. The minimum revenue guarantee has to be signed by another entity, and without someone being named on a resolution, which they currently are on the one we passed in November, they can't negotiate, they can't enter into this agreement. So, in my opinion, and I actually will ask, in a minute I guess I'll need to ask Jane Cossey to come up and talk a little bit more, because a few of us that weren't here on Thursday need to hear, I think, what he had to say. But he's asked for this for 6 years, nobody stepped up. He asked specific people, they said no. Somebody now has stepped up that says that they will do the negotiation, they will sign the contract, they'll be the one that does the billing of it. And without those things happening, the minimum revenue guarantee cannot be signed. Without a minimum revenue guarantee, the airlines fails. So, in my opinion, if this were to pass, it kills the airline. And I'll just leave it at that. I'm not going to make that. Commissioner Sullivan? Thank you, Commissioner Iverson. Appreciate your statements. I think, this resolution provides, I think, everyone involved with the knowledge that the funding is going to be there from Sullivan County, but will be committed from Sullivan County. As of right now, Sullivan County stands alone in that, as Kelly stated, and I think Malin had some statements there, the cities, without the city's support, this is a moot point. And I think that it's good for Sullivan County to set this money aside for this. I don't know if it's about an organization or if it's about setting aside the money. And I would ask you to consider that when you vote. We can set aside the money. We may land with another partner that we aren't aware of, or we may land with a partner that's existing. But I think all this does is allocates the money, it takes it out of Sullivan County's portion, and then it makes a statement to this region and the people who vote for us that, hey, we're for supporting this. The means of which we support it probably need to be vetted out a little more clearly.
Recognize Commissioner Bando.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. After hearing the discussion last week with Mr. Crossy, your resolution says the money to be put with an organization to be determined later. Who would that be?
I would ask that to be presented.
What if there isn't one?
What if there isn't one? I mean, the money's still gonna stay in the hotel motel tax.
But to make this project work, it's got to be someone to collect all the money. They got to raise $2 million. They've got to enter into a contract with all the entities. And as Mr. Cossey said last week, it needs to be one single third party.
I'm not identifying the party in this, I'm just saying Sullivan County has set the money aside. But I'm not identifying.
I'm very concerned that there may not be a third party that's eligible, that's sufficient to do this.
Not that there's not one, I'm not aware that there's not a different one. I think there's some discomfort with the third party that was mentioned, based on historical dealings with that third party. And the fact that we were somewhat misled that that party had changed names. And it was a surprise to all of us about that. So I don't think this is necessarily vetted out to the point where we know that's the third party. And I don't think we should rush into that without getting further information.
I really don't get the misleading part. I mean,
Willfully or
the
not.
commissioners that did the resolution has no idea of what other people know or don't know. There's no way we can know that. So I just assume that's a personal responsibility to know what's going on. But if there's no third party, as Mr. Cossey said last week, this dies and it's over with. And if we can't find a third party, I feel like a vote for this resolution would be a vote against new opportunities for people in Sullivan County. I think it'd be a vote against potentially a lot more sales tax, a lot more occupancy tax. I think it'd be a vote against making our airport competitive with the Asheville and Knoxville Airport, where people don't have to drive 100 miles or 150 miles. So I feel like a vote for this resolution would be a vote against all those things. And it'd be a vote to kill this resolution, which is a good one, and it's a good thing for Sullivan County.
If you wish to respond, Mr. Sullivan, I recognize Commissioner Carr. Commissioner Carr.
Were you gonna give him the chance to respond first?
He's enabled to, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The thing that really bothers me the most about this is, you heard from Gene last week with the airport. He said that, airlines talk to each other, and if we do this and this kills this, all the airlines are gonna look at us like we got the black plague, like we're a leper. They're not gonna, he's been working on this for 6 years, and we're potentially about to kill it now because people are upset with the last person who ran the bridge when it wasn't called the bridge. And, I get the concerns with how it was ran before, but it's not ran like that now. And just because we work with them this time, that doesn't mean we have to work with them on every single thing they bring to us. So I think this is one of the biggest economic opportunities that we've had come before us as a commission, and we should do the right thing and make sure that it passes. And Commissioner Slagle, I was wondering, would you accept an amendment to this resolution that would name Bridge as the third-party organization?
No.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Sullivan, do you wish to respond? Then I'll recognize Commissioner Akers. Commissioner Akers.
Thank you, Chairman. I guess I read some of this differently. Now therefore be resolved that the Board of Commissioners of Sullivan County hereby directs that the funding designated resolution number 2024-1103 be held in trust by Sullivan County until such time as funding is to be allocated to an organization is to be determined by resolution duly adopted by the vote of Sullivan County Commission. I don't think we're trying to kill it. And be honest with you, I think probably after hearing about it, the bridge is probably the only organization that will do this. It's just how we got here is so frustrating. And just because we might agree doesn't mean we have to advocate that that was the right way how we got here. You know, but I do have, you know, the letter from the bridge is a nice letter, and it helps clear up some things. I still don't have to delve into what a privately funded nonprofit 501c6 regional economic development organization is, because as Commissioner Means has asked twice now, last week and this week, are the meetings open? And we said no. And so, you know, we just need to make sure we know where our money's going to. Because there's 11 board members on that bridge, right on the website. 4 of them are public government employees. 1 of them's a public university employee. 3 of them are public traded stock company employees. 2 are in the hospital, and 1, I think, is a privately held company. So if we're going to have our taxpayer public money go to them, we should have a little more clarity. And I agree. I don't think we're trying to stop the opportunity, because we have a lot of opportunity going on at the airport.
I would just say contended at all to Mr. Cossey, but it's the first time I've seen him in here since I've been here asking for it. So if it's been around for 5 or 6 years, the first time I've seen it. Cities haven't seen it. Let's allocate the money and then figure it out.
Commissioner Glover.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm in support of Commissioner Slater's resolution because of the fact that it does explain where the money is going to be and the reports back to the county commission. Last month, Commissioner Means did ask a good question. Can we attend Bridges meetings? Well, no, you can't because we're private. So we're going to invest $10,000 a month of taxpayers' money into a group or write a check and have Bridges' name on it, but we can't attend any meetings. I don't think the taxpayers want us to do that. We tried this a few years ago when a private individual wanted to build a road into a high school. We were told right up front, you can't invest into a public-private partnership with tax money. So that being said, I don't have a thing against going to airport. That's a good idea. We need to do that. But if we waited 6 years for it, why are we in such a hurry now? You know, or December 4th, we went through all these stages and went down this road. But I take offense to something that was said there a minute ago. When you bring a resolution in here and you present it, you want to trust your colleagues. If they have a question, if they want to talk about something, provide it for them. I was really ticked when I found out the next day that Bridge was formerly the Hub Group. And the Hub Group is the same bunch, Commissioner Carr, but they just changed the name. It's the same group, but the name's just changed. And that's the problem I have with this. And Mr. Vanover said that we needed to, more or less, he was saying we need to pay more attention, I guess, is what he was saying. And I take offense to that. When I bring a resolution in here, just like tonight I got one in here, I'll sit there and ask questions all night long for you. And if you ask me a question on what's in there, I'll tell you. But if something significant as that had been changed in there, and no one in this room was told about it, it's wrong. You can look at it any way you want to. You can say nickels and dimes or quarters and pennies or whatever you want to say, it's wrong. This resolution plainly states where the money's going, it's going to be in the account, it's going to be accounted for. If somebody steps up, it's there. If Bristol comes on board, it's there. Kingsport comes on board, it's there. But I'm going to support this because I think it's a lot plainer and the taxpayers, I think, will appreciate where the money's at. And just like Commissioner Ward said, hey, Bristol made no commitment. Kingsport has made no commitment. I don't know of any other county around us that's made a commitment with us. But it's always Sullivan County. Y'all, if you go to Sullivan County, they'll throw the money in, they'll go, and it always happens. But I'm going to support Commissioner Slater's resolution.
Commissioner Irish.
Just want to say a couple things. I've got a couple things written down. It's mentioned a couple times that nobody else has come forward. You're right. But why would we want to follow? Why can't we just lead for once? And that's what I'm proud of. The Sullivan County is actually leading this, in my mind, is wonderful. I mean, the fact that we're actually going to lead the charge on something, we should be proud of that. We shouldn't have to wait for the cities to say it's okay for Sullivan County to follow. That's ridiculous. And for us to lead instead of follow, in my mind, is a wonderful thing. Why hadn't it happened in 6 years, you asked? Okay, well, that's pretty easy. Our airline came to us recently. The opportunity came and dropped in our laps recently. Because you asked for years doesn't mean you get an opportunity, but when an opportunity arrives, you have to be ready to act. And just so happens, we're able to act and try to move forward on this and try to make it a good thing. If we get 2 new airport destinations and a new airline service into that airport, it is going to make a huge advantage to everybody. It's going to take the prices down and everything else. So it's a wonderful thing. To say Sullivan County is always in front, that's absolutely wrong. There was another agreement that came up recently, small, I can't remember the name of the grant, but it's a small airport grant. We're not involved at all. They raised $300,000 and Sullivan County didn't put a dime into it. So we didn't even follow on that one. We're not involved. So to say that Sullivan County is always the first one is not true. We were the first one on this one. I'm very proud of the fact that we're the first one on this one. I hope that we stay together and say that we're going to continue. So that's not true. And the other part is, okay, if we throw this money into a pot of money, and we say, we're gonna figure it out later on, who's gonna do this. Until we name someone, they can't use the money that we've set aside in the negotiation to do a minimum revenue guarantee, which means that it doesn't happen. This deal dies, I'm sorry, this deal dies if this passes tonight. And Sullivan County's completely out of it. And if Sullivan County, the first one leading the charge that comes along and says, hey, look what good things we're gonna do, all the nice press that we got because we're actually leading the charge on something, if this passes and it dies, we deserve the bad press that we're gonna get, because we will absolutely kill the airline deal. As much as you wanna say supporting airline service on this resolution, it destroys it. Sorry, that's my opinion.
What is the total of the minimum revenue guarantee?
$2 million. We're $240,000 in, so that's an eighth of the way in. And I hope that other people join, and I hope other people. Is it happened yet? No. But like even Bristol said, it hasn't been hard.
It hasn't been approached, nobody's been approached. I mean, 1/8 of the way there.
But you have to have someone on that board to bring it. I brought it. I'm sorry that they haven't yet. Somebody on some of these other boards will most likely, at some point, bring it forward. They haven't yet. But that doesn't mean that we shouldn't. That doesn't mean we shouldn't lead. We should lead. We're the biggest part of the whole county. We are the county, for crying out loud. The cities are inside of us. So we should lead this, and I'm very proud of the fact that we did.
Commissioner Means.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just have a quick question for the sponsor. After this road is corrected, will the bridge still have the opportunity to come forth and request, kind of like going back to what happened a couple of months ago? Will they have that opportunity to come back?
I don't think it would be open to anybody to come back. I think it might delay negotiations, according to what Commissioner Harrison said. He's the expert there, so I can't take a path where I would disagree that it would delay negotiations. But it's $240,000 against $2 million. Could they come back? I don't see any reason why they couldn't come back.
Okay, so they can still be in.
Yeah, this is not, I think Commissioner Glover had a resolution that was pretty much eliminating the possibility Sullivan County would do business with NetHub. There's been a change in that, and it's not necessarily related to this resolution at all. But this resolution doesn't say anything about the bridge not able to come back and discuss with the commissioners, and like that, they did.
Okay, thank you very much.
Commissioner Jones.
Commissioner Slagle, you've only been on the commission this first term. We've had numerous.
If you would not bring your microphone down.
We've had numerous meetings at the airport and at Northeast State with community leaders from both Southwest Virginia and Northeast Tennessee, presenting this issue. And we never had anybody step up to be that party. Yeah, I'm proud that we come up, it's in Sullivan County, the airport is. We're one of the 5 others. Washington County, Sullivan County, Kingsport, Bristol, Tennessee, and Bristol, Virginia. But to be the first one, and it's in our county, it's not like it's over in Washington County somewhere. We're the leader on this, and I'm proud of what we did. I can't make a statement, no one's been approached, because I don't know what discussions have gone on with others. If Bristol hasn't, and their city manager here was saying, they haven't taken it up. I don't know if they've been approached or not. That's not in my wheelhouse to know that. But I know that we've had numerous meetings at the airport and at Northeast State. Community advertised meetings, invitations have gone out to parties, inviting them to come. And the issue of the airport not being able to go to an airline themselves are guaranteed funding. And we're not a unique community to this. This has happened all over the United States since airports have changed their approach. I'm going to vote against this because I think it does kill what we already voted on. just cause some people have an issue with an organization that's changed their leadership since the hub was previous organized, that leadership has changed. A lot of businesses change their name. You know, it's just a business world. And put on our big pants and let's get to work on this.
Commissioner Sullivan, did I recognize Commissioner Crosswhite? Commissioner Sullivan.
Yield to Ms. Crosswhite.
Commissioner Crosswhite, then Commissioner Stewart.
Thank you, Chairman. I agree that I'm very proud that Sullivan County is the first one stepping up. I'm still kind of confused. If this does not pass tonight, does this say that Sullivan County is pulling out?
No.
We're saying that we're gonna hold the money until we get a third party.
Yes,
The bridge.
Yes.
to Commissioner Harrison's point, if I get this wrong, correct me, but to Commissioner Harrison's statements, it would delay negotiations that the bridge will be undertaking if we were to not pass it.
And you don't-
Sorry, to pass it, sorry, excuse me, sorry, correction.
And you don't think another third party will step up and, well, I want this to go through, but I want us to all understand, if this passes, this is not gonna kill, or is it going to kill? It will kill.
I couldn't.
So, see, to me, this is confusing, I'll just be honest. I mean, this is,
I can attempt to clean it up.
please,
We're gonna put aside $10,000 a month. To Commissioner Akers' point, we probably could have put aside $10,000 a month already, but carrying forward, this is gonna put aside Sullivan County's commitment of their portion of the $2 million revenue guarantee. $10,000 a month at Sullivan County's portion for the hotel motel tax. It will delay negotiations, and I didn't serve on the airport board, and I haven't had the opportunity for employment at the airport, and Commissioner Harrison's a lot closer to that. It's the first time I've seen Mr. Cossine here, and I've only been here a short time, so all I can say is it doesn't designate a third party yet, it doesn't mean there can't be one. I don't know that I agree it kills it, just my opinion also, I do agree it delays it.
kind of answers my questions, but I'm still very concerned, because we don't want this to die, we want this to happen.
This isn't killing anything.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Commissioner Stewart.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And this resolution, the past resolution that we passed is definitely in conflict with this resolution. If this resolution passes tonight, the previous resolution is dead. Then we'll have to come back with a third resolution to whoever the third party that is going to be, which is probably going to be the bridge. So we're going circle back around, back to the bridge on another third resolution to come on the floor to put them on there. So we're slowing it down. Mr. Iverson has a list of things that we asked to be changed on the prior resolution, and he can amend that tonight. That gives us exactly what it does. It puts the money here in Sullivan County. It's not going to the bridge until we get an invoice. We don't know any other person out there, any other group that can come and do this for Sullivan County and for the airport and for our region. To me, we're just going right down the tubes to come back on the third resolution and just slowing down process. To me, I can't support this. We do have a representative from the bridge here tonight. The chairman, Mr. Slagle, don't mind calling him up to ask him when are we going to go to the cities and our neighboring counties that are in partners with us with the airport, and when are they going to be approached to put in on this so we can move on this tonight. But I do think this does slow it down, and we'll have to come back in here again on a third resolution for the same thing that we already had previously that we would be killing tonight, that we can amend tonight and give everything that's in this resolution and put it in the old resolution, and we move forward and not set in a stalemate in neutral and move forward with progress. Mr. Chairman, if you wouldn't mind, get the representative of the bridge come forward and answer that question.
I recognize Commissioner Slater to respond to you, and then if he wishes to bring someone up, we can.
I object. And then if Commissioner Iverson wants to make an amendment, he certainly has the right to do so.
I'd love to, but
Mr. Chairman, well, I still have the floor.
Yes.
If we pass this resolution tonight, he can't amend his resolution. His resolution is dead.
Agreed.
So we can't fix that problem and put those in there. It kills the resolution.
Mr. Sullivan, recognize you on your resolution.
Do you wish to make an amendment?
Well, we have a list of people, yeah, go ahead. Percent, I always recognize people in the order that they seek recognition. I'll recognize Commissioner McMurray.
Mr. Chairman, before you, Mr. McMurray, I think the best practice we can do tonight, being here as long as I have, I can tell you, we have been down this road before on things. The smartest thing we can do tonight is Mr. Slade will pull this resolution, Mr. Iverson make the amendments to his resolution, and we'll be in the exact same place we are with this resolution, except where we have someone identified to go work for us to get this passed for that. So that would be my recommendation, Mr. Chairman.
I have to make a point of clarification. Per conversation with the county attorney, we cannot reconsider for the purposes of amending the resolution that's already been passed in that meeting is over with. It has to be done during that meeting. We can't reconsider a resolution that's already been passed. That was from the county attorney. Commissioner Sullivan.
I yield.
Commissioner Sullivan.
I'm done. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner McMurray.
Thank you, Chairman. This is a complicated issue, and I know it's one that we've all thought long and hard about and struggled over, but maybe my mind works a little bit different. What I try to do, I try to look for the certainties first. And I think one thing is for certain, and we'll all agree with this. The airline would be a net positive. We got the airline, everybody agrees with that. We get this airline, it's good. Two, we have to have a third party. No matter how we go, we have to have a third party. Therein lies the issue. One, we do have a third party that is stood up, is willing to move forward, willing to help us. There are a lot of personal animosity against this third party. But I don't think that my personal feelings or any animosity or how bad I dislike or I distrust somebody, if it will help my constituents, positive, I'll do it. I'll do it, no matter what my personal feelings are. And two, even if it is frustrating, and I gotta take it frustrating, procedure. The budget's frustrating. We go through that. We go through that every year. That's tough. That's hard. We got to do it for constituents. And one final thing is, I know that their meetings aren't open to the public, but every private corporation doesn't have meetings that are open to the public. This third party that we need has to be a private corporation. From what I gather and the information that I heard, governments can't get involved in these negotiations. Networks is actually quasi-governmental, as I understand it. It's a private partnership with the government. I don't even know if they could be precluded. But we've got somebody right now on the table. And I know, and I can understand everybody's apprehension in moving forward. But my apprehension really lies in the message that we'll send if we don't move forward. I think it will send a message out there to these airlines. And these people, they probably know very little about Sullivan County. Very little. What little they know is what they'll read in the paper. Maybe from tonight. And I want to send a good message. I want to send a good message to Kingston, Bristol, everybody else. Let's get involved.
Commissioner Sullivan, you wish to respond, sir?
I appreciate comments, thanks, sir. Thank you.
Commissioner Means.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I guess my comment on this is we're stuck between a rock and a hard place right now. I think every single one of us are for airport expansion. We want everything that we want to do, but several of us felt very deceived by that, by the way that it was presented. I think that has kind of been resolved. But I think part of resolving some of that is needing to kind of go back to the beginning and to square one. And so that's kind of where I am with this. This kind of sets the groundwork for us doing things the right way the first time. And I don't think that doesn't mean we are killing anything. I believe that if that third party is as great as I think it is, or as they are proposing, they're going to be right back in here. We're going to keep just picking up the ball and going. But this kind of sets the groundwork a little bit better. Sets the foundation for the house to be built a little bit better. So that's all I have to say.
Yeah, I'll just say, we're not going back to square one. I think I understand your baseline for that comment and agree with what you have to say. We're saying we're going to allocate the money, and then we're saying we're going to pay for the money. We're saying we're going to allocate the money, $10,000, Sullivan County. We're going to hold it $10,000 a month until it's determined which partner we're working with.
Commissioner Ward. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Joe, great remarks. He clarified it pretty clear. I mean, I'm not sure that he gets any better than that. Question for Mark. I know the answer, but I think everybody else I know. If everyone else doesn't get on board, I mean, it's done.
Don't spend a bit.
So not sending a check to anybody, just making a commitment to say, hey, Sullivan County's leading this pack here. We're on board and we're willing to do this. That's the way I understood it. Thank you.
Mr. Jones.
The owners are probably not going to be the only people approached for the private entities. Anybody can be approached, anybody can pledge money to this to get to the $2 million. The airport board made a decision on who they felt was the right group to handle this process. And here we are trying to micromanage them, telling them, well, we know better. They've been working on this for months and months, years. And they got somebody to do it. And we're telling them, because we got some personal issues with the medical group this morning, but we know better. Well, there are business people on that board, and I've served them. There's some pretty astute people on that board. And I think they made the right decision when they chose this organization to represent them to be the third party. And I don't know how much more we can beat this horse.
Mr. Sullivan.
Commissioner Harris.
So, last week I told everybody I was looking at a way to amend it. That was what we were trying to do, what I was trying to do. So I reached out to Charlie Curtis through different avenues and trying to ask if it was correct, the correct way to do it. So I was advised that there are 2 times that you cannot go back and reconsider a motion, reconsider a resolution that's already passed. The first time is if you appointed, if it's an appointment. If you appoint a person, you can't go back and do it. Or if there's a contract involved that's already signed, you can't go back and do it. So in my mind, I brought forward, I sent it to all of you, emailed everybody, get a copy of the Archie, whatever email to them. And we had a copy for everybody to say, this is the amendment to clarify and clear up, taking some of the things out of Matt's thing and trying to make sure that everybody understood and what I thought was going to be a pretty easy thing. Came in tonight and it really wasn't. So what I was attempting to do, I was told it was going to be challenged procedurally, and now the attorney says that we can't do it, even though we did it last month on another thing with my partner. We actually went back and reconsidered something. So I thought that's kind of interesting. We couldn't do it this time. But regardless, it's like, okay, we can't do that now. My amendment that I wrote out would work on the original resolution and clarify the original resolution to where it makes sure that it's all done, and it designates the bridge, because the bridge has already been designated in the original resolution. The resolution, the amendment that I have, which still would do everything that needs to be done in my mind again, I could be looking at it wrong, doesn't work with yours. And I'm afraid that by doing that, it not only kills the original resolution, it hurts this part as far as making if the bridge isn't identified, which they are currently now, they can currently now use that as we already have an eighth of the way there. And we can start the negotiations, we can have these conversations. We're already starting down this path. We have this part now. But if they're going to not be able to use that in part of their getting everyone else on board, it kills, again, in my opinion, it kills the whole thing and it hurts the whole thing. What we already passed has got us to the point where they're involved, they can sign a minimum revenue guarantee, they can do all the invoicing of it, they give us a piece of paper today that says, in a signed copy of this is how we're going to do it, it's going to be invoiced, it's going to be sent. I know our finance department is never going to send a penny out of here without an invoice, so there's no way that he's going to send out money just because somebody says you owe us $10,000, he'll say, great, not happening until you give us an invoice and it's the right way of doing things. So I would love to put my amendment in. That's been changed, so I can't put my amendment in. I would absolutely love to, and I think it would solve everything tonight. But the problem is now it's being challenged and I really can't do it. So I'm sorry. If we could put even the resolution or this amendment into this resolution and it not kill the original, I'd be great with it, but I just don't see a way of doing it. So, I mean, because of that, I'm stuck. I'm sorry. So I have to say I'm voting against it. I have to ask everyone else to please vote against it. This is going to hurt us. This is going to hurt Sullivan County. It's going to hurt us all.
Before you turn your mic off, I have to ask a clarifying question. I won't object. Last month, did we vote to pull a resolution that's already been passed from the previous calendar?
We didn't pull the resolution. We changed the wording of it because we didn't like the wording where it was, the mayor was able to enter into a thing, and then we changed it to the mayor was able to sign the contract.
We didn't have to actually vote to reconsider a resolution that's already been, to pull one from a previous calendar. That's what we were.
I believe that was from the month before.
We didn't actually vote on it, though, is what I'm saying. We didn't actually vote on it, is what I'm saying.
Okay.
It hadn't been voted on.
Then I apologize. I misunderstood. I thought we actually.
I didn't mean that in a snarky way. It was just, I was going to defend myself.
God, here we go, wrong again.
It's like,
Again, I think we have differing opinions. I don't believe it kills it. I do think it delays it and gives us an opportunity to kind of look at it through a different lens. But again, just my opinion.
Mr. Van.
I'm like Sam, you beat this horse to death, we need to get on with it, but I just want to say that it's irrelevant who else joins in this partnership. We're here to vote for Sullivan County. This airport's in Sullivan County. Sullivan County will be the winner with the resolution that Commissioner Iverson had. If a yes vote is made for this resolution, it will kill the deal. And it's very irrelevant who else participates. We're just voting for Sullivan County. We're voting for the good of Sullivan County. So Commissioner McMurray said, great, thank you, Joe. Sometimes the process isn't pretty, but that's the right thing to do. So I encourage everyone to vote no on this resolution. Mr. Slater.
Yeah, I think the question is, if you're voting no, you're really supporting the contribution of the money to be held, or is it more about the party? I don't know, but I appreciate everyone's comments and feedback. It's what the process is supposed to be about. It's not a personal thing. it's about discussion. I appreciate everybody, respect everybody's discussion on it, and that way to support their constituents. So it's good discussion, probably an extended discussion, I think we're fatigued from. But I yield to Commissioner Aker.
Commissioner Aker, then Commissioner Crosswhite.
Thank you, Chairman. Let's see if we can bridge this situation together. Hearing all the thoughts, and I do, here's part of it. I was excited to see Mark's, Commissioner Ireson's, amendment that tried. There was couple little things I wanted to change, but very minute for the most part. But there was a problem. I personally don't think we can go back and amend the previously voted on resolution. We talked about that before. But I also do think it is important what he tried to put in his amendment, and I think it's important what this letter says. But right now, neither one of those are in a resolution. All right, so I'm talking out loud, and don't throw anything at me. Could there be an opportunity to delay tonight's vote on this resolution and work on a proper amendment, because that would be up to the sponsor of the resolution, to fix these issues? That way, yeah, we probably are getting rid of the original resolution, but we're putting in these steps on that. I'm just throwing that out there.
I think, was that a motion to defer?
I'm just saying that that's up to you.
Commissioner Sullivan.
Are you making the motion to defer?
I will.
I think we need to vote on it.
Recognize Commissioner Carr. Are you calling for the question, or are you?
If he's making a motion to defer, I'll second his motion.
But he didn't accept it.
Right, so I'm saying we vote on the motion.
He doesn't have to. He doesn't have to.
I'm not voting on the motion to defer, or I'm not accepting it, we can vote on it.
I'll recognize Commissioner Carr.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman. Point of order. He doesn't have to accept it, we can still vote. We have a proper motion and a second, we should vote.
He's right.
Well, but
I did not make the.
you didn't make it, you were just asking, he was asking him if he would like to defer. It wasn't a motion, he was asking him if he would defer, and he didn't want to.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll make a motion to defer it.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion, now we're on track, we have a motion to defer by Commissioner Carr and a second by Commissioner Iverson. Any discussion on the motion to defer? It's not on, it's already been introduced. It's already been introduced. That cuts off the debate except for the person that made the motion and the sponsor of the resolution, right, to recognize the sponsor of the resolution.
It's been a proper motion and a second. Need to vote.
All those, we can do that by voice vote instead of putting it on board. All those in favor of the deferring motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
No.
In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. Item number 1 is deferred.
Well, I'm going to do it. Sponsor.
Next order. Item number 4. Recognize Commissioner Vanover. Item number 4.
Item 4 is a resolution to authorize the Sullivan County School Board to enter into a loan agreement through the Energy Efficient School Innovation Grant purchase to install LED lighting and controls. We heard a speaker in public comment. I'd like to ask Mr. Carter to come up and talk about this project, please.
Good evening, thank you for the opportunity to come up this evening. I did hand out a sheet earlier before the meeting started. I handed out a sheet before the meeting started, and I had some information on LED lighting, so hope you have an opportunity to look at that. Do appreciate Commissioner Means and her concerns for the safety of our students, which is always going to be my top priority as well. I would just say, as most things, you can find differing opinions if you search hard enough and deep enough. I think some of the information that I've shared there is from reputable sources. And I think one thing that I really want to point out, and I asked Mr. Gregory to speak briefly, is that a lot of the conversation I heard tonight was about incandescent lights. And in all of our schools currently, there are not incandescent lights, they're fluorescent bulbs. This is a change from fluorescent to LED. And so there's some facts on there about incandescent, about being outlawed and banned in certain states. And I don't have anything that I've been able to find that would say that LED lighting, the type of LED lighting, I'll let Mr. Gregory expand on that a little bit. I can't find anything that's saying that the type of LED lighting that this project will entail will harm or be dangerous to our students. So, Mr. Gregory, is there anything you'd like to add?
All right, hello again, folks. I'm a salesperson, and in that role, I've been in for a little over 10 years with Excel, and I've been in front of school boards and county commissions from Shelby County to Sullivan County. And we have converted approximately 40% of the school districts in the state of Tennessee to all LED lighting. And every one of those are listed in our references. And when we list our references, we list the superintendent and his direct phone number. And Chuck would be on that if we get the project moving forward. And Commissioner Harvey, I appreciate you speaking to your eye doctor and asking me questions. So it is important, and we have had zero complaints from any school district that we upgraded to LED. And like I said, they also have positive preferences for the project. So I'll answer any questions that you may have specific to it.
Recognize Commissioner Hagan.
Thank you, Chairman, and I've got my blue light blocker readers on here. And now with this loan of $2,211,080, now there's actually not going to be any money like output, right? With the savings and everything, it should work out.
The guarantee is that the savings generated by the project will cover the payment 100%. So we're not asking you for any money.
Good.
Commissioner Iverson.
Excellent. To Mr. Eggers' point, I saw the original document. I think the actual school system makes just under $70,000 in addition to the payment, so it's actually going to be plus. And Ms. Christie actually mentioned the fact that I had talked to her in email, and what I told her then was, basically, this body, all we're doing, all we're able to do is tell the school department that they can or cannot spend the money. And they've come to us, they've done all the research, and I appreciate all that you've done. And I told her that she really needs to talk with them, and if it's something that they want to change up, and that's something they want to do, it's fine. But really, our body, all we can do is say yes or no that they can spend their money. So I'm in favor of them from a financial side of it, and if it's something that's got any kind of potential, I think it's something they need to really go through and do, and it sounds like they have done a lot of that, but at the same time, that is their thing. So just a natural rhythm.
Commissioner Means.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Well, I guess just to comment on what was just said, I agree. I don't want to get into the weeds of these things. However, it's not all we can do. We can speak up, we can use our voice, and we can say something whenever new information is presented to us. We can allow other citizens who know about all these health risks and benefits to use their voices as well. So this sounds disrespectful, and I don't mean for it to, but as a salesman, for the types of lights that you have, if we had another incandescent light salesman in here, and you can purchase them, by the way, and I'm not advocating for them, but if we had an incandescent light salesman in here, he or she would give us all the positives as to why we would need to purchase those. So the argument that I've had is that that I've heard is that maybe they don't think that the government would allow these types to be a product if it was not safe or bad for our health. And just today, red dye number 3 was banned from FDA. Just today, 35 years that has been in our foods, and it's known to cause cancer, it's known to do all of the horrible things. So we can roll our eyes and we can talk about all cost benefits and talk about money, but we're talking about the health of our children and the health of our teachers. We're talking about the health of the next generation. So I know that Mr. Carter takes that very seriously, and I do believe Mr. Mark is trying to be kind and courteous as well. But you can Google, you can look it up, all the scientific evidence on why incandescent lightings are the best lightings. You can look up why all the bad scientific reasons why LED lightings are so horrible for your health. You can do all of that. I would like to just spare you of all of those different types of facts. What I would like to know is if we can either put this, if I can make an amendment to compromise. We can do as the sponsor would like to do, but I just wanted to bring that to everybody's attention. I don't think it's a farce, what's happening, and I don't think it's foolish for us to take a step back and go, what is the best health for our children? So thank you.
Commissioner Cross.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Carter, are your teachers allowed to have lamps in their classroom if they so choose to? Yes. Thank you very much.
Commissioner Vano.
I think timing is a factor in this decision, and then we get started on it, what I understand. So I'd like to have a vote on this on waiver of rules, please.
You've heard the explanation on item number 4. The floor is still open for discussion. Recognize Commissioner Means.
Okay, well, I would just want to make a motion to amend it.
Commissioner Vano, it would require you to state your amendment.
But in the interest of time, I don't want to accept the amendment. They need to get on with this project and I'd like to go ahead and have a vote.
All right, can I put that up for a vote, the amendment?
You can. But you have to state your
Yeah,
amendment.
the amendment is would just add to this that also that they would provide at least one room within each school that provides only incandescent lights for student use. Just one room.
And you offer that as a
As an
formal
amendment.
amendment?
Yes, sir.
That's part of the motion. Is there a second to the amendment? Is there a second to the amendment?
I'll second.
Commissioner Harvey seconds.
I'll second that because actually the physician that I spoke to, who I do respect, the doctor said that they actually do have one of their rooms that they just use incandescent lighting for, and it's because of the ability to dim. And so I think that's a reasonable, I think we have to think about how many years our schools had asbestos in it. And, we didn't even know, and then finally that came around and we got the asbestos out. But I think these things are things that we're learning, and this is still a new technology. And so I think that's a very reasonable amendment, so I'll second that.
Commissioner Means moves adoption of the amendment. Commissioner Harvey seconds Commissioner Means' amendment. Recognize Commissioner Cross on the amendment.
Yes, sir, on the amendment. The point to my question earlier was, being in a classroom every day, I will tell you that I rarely use my overhead lights, and I will tell you that also I have various counterparts that use lamps. So as far as what you're asking for a separate room to be set aside, many teachers already use lamps in their classroom as a dimming effect. So I don't know that that amendment is quite, I'm not calling you out, I'm simply saying necessary because of the use of lamps and lower lights in classrooms for the effect you're asking.
Commissioner Mays.
So do you think we should provide maybe the incandescent lighting for the, I think that's awesome that some teachers do that, but I think we should do that for each classroom.
I believe you have to have, and I'm sorry that I say this from my standpoint, but I believe that's a teacher decision.
Commissioner Iverson on the amendment, sir.
There was one thing mentioned at the school board meeting, and I don't remember what was said, but it was, there's something about you're already providing a room at each location. What was it? There's something about you're doing that, I believe now. What is that?
Yeah, the Energy Efficient Schools Initiative requires us to offer each school one room with lighting that is tinted, either blue or red or yellow, whatever the teacher desires for the kids that are hyperactive on the spectrum, and the teachers know what color they want to have. And like I mentioned before, if you go in now, you go in there, you'll find bags on their lights. It'll be blue or red or whatever color. And the teachers are doing that themselves now. But the new lights that come in will be that color.
Commissioner Means, is that answering? Is that what address? Can't recognize anyone from the public. Commissioner Means.
I'm guilty, I'm sorry.
Commissioner Hart.
Thank you. So I do think that the point that you make about replacing the fluorescent lights is good. I mean, because I think that's pretty well known that that's more hazardous and a lot more dangerous, so I would support that, and I'm not sure it was really needed anyway. Are the light changing room, is that LED lights?
Yes.
Doesn't that prove that the LED is dangerous in a sense?
No, that's on the kids that are on the spectrum, or the ones that have autism.
You'll come in closer, sir.
I'm afraid of, yes.
No,
The kids that are on the spectrum, for whatever reason, it's altered to those teachers. But the 98% of all the other kids in the schools are fine with the regular LED lights.
Right, okay.
The white,
I'm sorry, what?
the white ones.
The what?
The white lights.
They dim
They can have dimmers, yes.
with the colored rooms that you're talking about?
They can dim, and the standard classrooms can also have dimmers.
So those kids are more sensitive to?
If you saw the video that was sent out to you guys that showed the hyperactive kids in the room, those were fluorescent lights in that room. And those kids do react. The fluorescents are the ones that flicker and hum, and that really affects kids negatively.
Okay, yes, fluorescent lights are bad, yes, but I'm not even disputing that.
Just a reminder, we still have an amendment on the floor that with a motion and second, we're gonna need to vote on before we vote on the resolution, so.
Right. Okay, we'll just vote on a minute.
Well, we still have, Commissioner Ward, do you wish to speak to the amendment?
How would putting the blue light in one room solve a problem? Whatever your resolution, how would that solve the problem by putting it in just one room when there's 40, 50 classes with 50 kids in each? How would one room solve the problem?
Well, my proposal is not the blue lights. My proposal is incandescent lights, which is the warm lights. Like she spoke earlier about the red light spectrum and the blue light spectrum, and the LEDs go towards the blue light spectrum. There's a whole list of health issues with it. But they have a blue light room, is what he's saying. So maybe that's a question for Mark, how that helps or doesn't help.
I see,
Because mine is not blue light, mine would be the warm.
I see your point, but I think Superintendent Carter was brought here for a reason, to improve our schools. And there's nobody in this county, other than probably the sheriff, that watches out and cares more about the well-being and the health of all of our students than that man sitting right up there.
Except for the mothers
Let me
and fathers
finish,
of the
let me
children.
finish.
Yeah.
And I don't think we ought to micromanage him. LEDs are throughout the country. I'd say there's probably LEDs in your house. You know, I don't have, I mean, this room's full of LEDs. Nobody's complained yet about it. So, I mean, I understand your concerns, but that guy right there, man, he's on it. I guarantee he's researched it, and let's let him be the superintendent to take care of our schools.
Well, let's ask him, have you researched this, Chuck Carter, Mr. Carter?
Yes, I have,
Okay.
yes. My goal was to provide a better lighting situation for learning capacity for our students. A lot of our buildings are older. The lighting that's in there isn't sufficient for good reading skills. So number one, to improve the quality of our environment for our students. Number two, to do it at an expense that's favorable to the school system and to the county. And that's the two things that I based this on in the beginning. After we brought to say that LEDs were dangerous, yes, I did do research, yes.
And you're not concerned about the sleep patterns, disruptions, the suppressing melatonin production, the circadian rhythm disruptions, eye strain, discomfort, the retinal damage, the flickering lights, this is all right here. This isn't new.
Yes, I would just draw your attention to number one on our research and number two that talks about the benefits of LED as opposed to fluorescent or incandescent. With the fluorescent lights, with the flicker, which is invisible to the naked eye, it can lead to discomfort over time. That flicker can contribute to headaches and eye strain, particularly in environments where people spend long hours. LEDs, on the other hand, provide a stable light source without flicker, promoting better visual comfort. And that's from the National Institute for Occupational Safety and Health.
Like I told you, we have a renovation company, and we have to replace light bulbs, and much of the market is LED lights. But that doesn't mean or make it healthy. It doesn't mean that it's okay. And so, which is why some teachers are needing to find lamps and dim the lights in their rooms. So, this is just to draw out the point that maybe the scientific research isn't even all the way out, and that maybe we should look for ways to have ulterior ways instead of just saying this is the only way. But it's fine, we'll just call for a vote and vote this year.
Recognize Commissioner Harvey on the amendment.
We'll go ahead and vote. I was really wanting you just to not amend it because I feel like that the main issue here is about the fluorescence and changing the fluorescence to LEDs. And I think Commissioner Cross made a good point about the teachers they do have the flexibility to use the incandescent lights, and I know they do, and I know I did. When I had my office, I used incandescent lights, so I would probably not want to vote on amendment, so.
Commissioner Harvey, are you withdrawing your second of the amendment?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll second.
Two.
I'll second.
Okay, so we have that motion by Means and a second by McMurray. Now, recognize Commissioner Vanover on your resolution, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I got one quick question, Mr. Carter. Do you think it's manageable to provide one room per school with a different kind of lighting?
That was something I was concerned about. Since our rooms are currently fluorescent lights, we would be changing out all the fixtures and everything incandescent. And I don't know if that's a reasonable thing to do, to have one room in every building with a different kind of light fixture at the store light bulbs for that one, as opposed to a lamp that a teacher makes the choice to have in their room, which is completely fine and acceptable. So I would prefer to leave that up to the teacher in the classroom on that.
We spoke about you having lamps and you agreed to that.
Yes, but I don't want to mandate that and say they have to have a lamp, that we have to go around and check and monitor to make sure everybody got a lamp, and that it's not got an LED bulb in it. Make
No,
it good, LED bulbs have incandescent, so.
No, and I don't want to do that either.
No, I don't think that's practical.
I'm just talking about providing an incandescent light option. That's it. That's all. There's no, I don't want to mandate anything. I just want to make sure that it's being provided.
I think that's optional. That's what Mr. Cross was saying, Commissioner Cross.
That option is
I'm keeping up. Recognize Commissioner Kenny.
Thank you. Mr. Carter, the last time we did one of these projects, and we spent a lot of money over several years, and we turned right around and closed about 4 or 5 schools, and wasted all that money that we did on energy savings. Has there been any talk or any discussion about the schools, and if there is something coming down the road that we're not gonna spend all this money, then close the school? Has there been any discussion about that?
We have had no current conversations about closing any schools anytime in the near future.
Well, you know, we've lost students the last several years, and, you know, our school population is getting smaller. And I know that I went through all this when we started all this, closing schools and consolidating and all that stuff. But I just hate to see it, you know, spend a bunch of money, and turn out around in 2 years, the schools are closed.
I agree with you. The nice thing about this is we're at a zero for what we're spending. We're actually going to be bringing in revenue potentially $67,000 above what we're currently spending on our electric bill. So we will have a zero cost on that. So yes, I agree with you. If that was a potential, that would be a concern, but we're not looking at closing schools, and we're not going to be spending out additional. We're spending money now on our electric bill currently, so we're getting this investment basically as a zero cost.
All right, thank you. I'm gonna recognize Commissioner Cross, and I'm gonna recognize Commissioner Means on her amendment. Mr. Cross.
I was just trying to clarify, the very option that you're asking for is present. It's present at teacher discretion. And I think I'm a very big advocate of that.
Commissioner Means, I'm gonna recognize Commissioner.
Okay, so could we put on there, maybe this would help, while also providing at least one room, light bulb, or lamp within each school? Would that help? No? You can't even provide a light bulb for the teacher to use it?
They have that option. We're not providing the light bulb for everything to do on that. But they have that opportunity now, and they'll continue to have that opportunity.
The teacher buys it? Yeah, so this would allow you all to provide it, and not the teacher?
We have money to pay for that every year, $200 for our classrooms.
Yes.
Yes.
The system provides us money.
For light bulbs and lamps?
Their own.
What everybody needs.
Commissioner Means, at this point, I need to restate your amendment as you wish it for it to be voted on, and then I'll recognize Commissioner Vanover for that, and we'll vote on the amendment, so.
Okay. Just new information, the teachers are given allotted amount of money for their, but I'm going to put on here, while also providing at least one room, light bulb or lamp within each school that provides only incandescent lighting for student use. And that's it. So I want us to at least lead on trying to do this.
And I'll ask the clerk, if you don't mind, to read back the amendment so you can clarify this.
Can you restate the last part?
While also providing at least one room, light bulb, or lamp within each school that provides only incandescent lighting for student use.
Would you mind reading, make sure it's worded the way you like for it to be, so that's what we'll be voting on.
Do you have that written there?
Yes.
While also providing at least one room, light bulb within each school that provides only incandescent lighting for students' use.
Light bulb or lamp. You see
Light
it
bulb,
up there?
light bulb, or lamp.
Recognize you, Commissioner Vanover, and then we'll be voting on the amendment, not the resolution.
I just feel like it's not manageable, and Mr. Carter doesn't want to do it, so I'll vote no on the amendment.
If there's no objection, Commissioner Ward.
Wouldn't the school have to agree to this amendment? And the money that it's gonna cost for the room?
Just a question. I mean, I feel like we're making decisions here that it's their decision. We're simply voting on an amendment.
I would like to say that I hope you'll vote for the amendment. I don't think it's going to hurt anything. It would only help, and it's for the health of our students. So, thank you.
Since we're not able to put this particular amendment on the board, we'll do a roll call vote. All those in favor of the amendment, signify by saying yes. If you oppose, say no. So we'll, Madam Clerk, if there's no objection, Madam Clerk, call the roll on the amendment on.
Baker,
No.
Calvin? No. Carr?
No.
Cole?
No.
Crawford?
No.
Cross?
Nope.
Crosswhite? No. Gardner?
No.
Glover?
Yes.
Harvey? Hayes? Absent. Horn? Absent. Harrison?
No.
Calvin?
No.
King?
No.
Leonard?
No.
Walk? Absent. McMurray?
Yes.
Means? Yes. Pierce?
No.
Slagle?
No.
Denham?
No.
Vanover?
No.
Ward?
No, ma'am.
Would anyone like to change their vote?
Madam Clerk.
16 no, 3 yes, 3 absent.
Having failed to receive the necessary majority of the votes cast, the amendment fails. Recognize Commissioner Vanover.
I move for.
I move for immediate adoption of item 4.
Sponsor moves waiver of rules on item number 4. When the board opens, please cast your vote on item number 4. Has every member voted? Any member wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk.
20 yes, 1 no, 3 absent.
Having received the necessary majority of the votes cast, item number 4 is adopted. Without objection, recognize Commissioner Crosswhite on item.
10-minute break.
No.
Would anyone else be in favor of a 10-minute break?
No, we need to get out of here.
I'm gonna accommodate Commissioner King, on a recess. A 5-minute recess. Anyone, we've got a motion for a 5-minute recess.
It's usually about 15 minutes instead of 5.
We're gonna do 5.
No, because you don't love me. I had to try that one,
Don't get too close to you, I got something going on.
Zane, you're in trouble now, bud.
You better keep your time on.
Uh-oh. I can fix that.
Where you going? I'm standing here with you,
What
Mark.
are you doing?
How do you fix it? I don't know what I'm doing.
Did you knock it out?
Model away. That looks good, don't it? You've not been talking bad, have you?
Yeah, make sure it's
I think I knocked the top of it out. And reading the room, people understand. I appreciate that.
That gives you a month to put a resolution.
Already got it?
Yeah.
Already got it. No, I meant I already made the resolution. I want to sign it.
Oh, we have that.
We give them a chance to say things. It'd be nice if you got someone else on board. Never seen this truck so much. That's the. I was about to go there and do a different format. That's a 50-50 shot. It's nice.
How much it's going to cost.
If you take 3600
You'll just give us everyone.
So
that is all. That's pretty
I'm ready. Where they at? Where's Gardner at?
Gardner's ready, but no price. I'm on the
Let's get some out of it. Or we can amend
Everybody start making their way back. We'll reconvene.
Are you gonna make the flyers? Are you gonna make it? You know what?
LED light for Christmas.
Please do.
I'm gonna buy you an LED light too.
Good, because I like them.
Hey, Jessica, I already got one. Just give me a bulb, would you?
Andrew, you can stay with Larry? You can stay with Larry? We'll go back in there. He wants to go home.
Yes. Hey.
I'm trying to be grateful today. We're tired. I want to go home. Hey, John, you didn't do a good job getting them back. I'm hard. Hey, this is 2023 Christmas count from Bobby Rose. That's funny. I'm not trying to throw it away. That's why I thought. Hey, y'all keep your seats. It's my bedtime. That's why we get them paper right.
You notice I don't get uptight. I'm not doing this, so let's go on time. We're not going to bring That's what people are. That's what got mixed in it, I don't get mixed in it.
Right, yeah, you're good, yeah, you're good. Yeah.
So I'll rub me off.
Got the back in session, got the judge to recognize Commissioner Crosswhite, item number 5.
This resolution is to allow the school board to take our school fund balance to do restoration to the ceilings at Sullivan Central Middle School. It costs $150,000. Looks like put this on waiver rules, but I'll be glad to ask any questions for Mr. Carter.
You've heard the explanation on item number 5. The sponsor moves the waiver of rules. The floor is open for discussion. Recognize Commissioner Glover on item number 5.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The reason I brought this off consent is what I talked about at the workshop last Thursday. We're paying $150,000 to put some paint on some ceiling tiles at a middle school. So East High School setting up there with the water running through theirs. But since we passed that last resolution on the lights, they brought the roof on it. Now I'm going to put the lights up because that'd be a hazard. Enough is enough now. I've sat here and harped on this for months and years. It's been 3 years. Mr. Carter at the workshop said they've done some kind of resolution to recognize, fix the roof at East High School. I'm not about to spend any more money at any more of these schools until those kids up there get the same treatment. Enough is enough. And, you know, we just spent $2 million. We're sitting up there with a 1967 boiler. 1967. It's original heat that's been there since the school was built. Now, won't we swap schools around for a month? Won't we send the Westridge kids at East and send the East kids down Westridge for a month? I bet you it's fixed in. I'm serious. These kids deserve better, the teachers deserve better, and the parents in this area that their kids go there deserve better. So I'm voting no on this resolution. I'm voting no on any more money being spent on any more schools until Sullivan East High School is taken care of. Period.
Commissioner Crosswhite.
Mr. Glover, thank you. I do agree that East does need a roof, but I also know that Mr. Carter's told us that during negotiations, it's under a warranty. So I don't think we ought to penalize another school because we're trying to work to get a roof on another school. We gotta take care of all our schools. I don't care where they're at or what they're doing, and I'm sure Mr. Carter will answer any questions about the roof again, but right now, we're just concentrating on getting these ceiling tiles. And if you have a child that goes to Central, go down there and look at them. They need to be fixed. So I'll ask some waiver rules, please, and we'll go there.
The floor is still open for discussion. Recognize Commissioner King. Then Commissioner Glover again, sir.
Thank you. I would like to ask Mr. Carter a question or two about what's going on in East High School.
Mr. Carter.
Hey, did you get what's going on? Just give us an update, because that's been going on for 3 years. Well, it's been longer than that.
It's been longer than that.
When Miss Evelyn was here, I was up there with her, and we was walking around all the garbage cans out there in the hallway. And you talk about safety. You know, we had that school up there, and they had to go to the racetrack and have vices because of the black mold up there. And if that water's coming through that roof and coming down through those tiles and all that, you know, are you going to put all the lights up there before you fix the roof, or are you going to fix the roof first?
The goal is that the roof is fixed first. I made a few notes just so I didn't miss over anything, but first about the ceiling at Central, it's not ceiling tiles that we're talking about. It's a kind of a popcorn roof that's paper mache. You couldn't even really go in there and scrape it and then repaint it. It's for soundproofing, I suppose, is what the purpose of it was. But it's almost to the color of this wood podium here. And it originally was a white ceiling. And so that's about that particular project. At Sullivan East High School, when I got I was made aware that there were leaking issues of the roof there. And so we immediately started working, got with the company, Garland, who installed the roof in 2017, I believe. I think there's been ongoing problems with it since then. But they brought in a whole team, met with us when Mr. Hubbard was still our maintenance supervisor. And that was towards the end of my first year, and told us that they were going to fix the problem. And got up there and they started doing patchwork. And that didn't take care of the problem. We gave it a chance to see if it did, and it did. So we called them back and we said, look, we've got to either get this fixed or we're going to court. And so they came to our board meeting. We'd love to have any commissioner, be it those we have several to come, make that available to you to hear what has happened. This representative from Garland said, our board's meeting, we're going to make this right. We're going to do a complete or major restoration project. They didn't hand us that night. They went back to their board and they submitted something to us. That is with us now, what they submitted the scope of work to do. But nobody on our board, or myself, or our maintenance supervisor, is a roofing expert. So rather than just accept that they've already tried to fix it, they've tried to fix it over the years from time to time apparently, and they still haven't got it fixed, we've asked a third party, through our attorney, he's got a roofing consultant that's going to be here tomorrow.
You figured out the secret there.
I'm at home now. He's going to be here tomorrow, this third-party consultant, with the scope of work that Garland has submitted. He's going to go up on the roof, and he's going to make a determination of whether that is a short-term fix or whether that's a long-term fix. This is a warranty issue. We can't work on this roof. If we do, and touch the roof and penetrate the roof membrane, we would void the warranty, and we would be without any help. We'd be at the mercy of just doing it ourselves, redoing the whole roof. So the scope of work that they have has some questions to it that I don't feel comfortable, and like I said, nobody else on our board or our maintenance department feels comfortable with answering those questions about the warranty, about the product that they're using, and about the overall scope of the roof as it was originally installed and why we're having problems with that roof today. So once we get that from this consultant, then we can go back to Garland and say, yes, move forward with the work, or no, this is not acceptable, either do it to this level of work, or we'll see you in court to get it done properly. But for us to accept this work, there's questions about what the warranty will look like after the fact. Will we be reduced to a different warranty because we've got a different roof membrane now on there? So I think those are all really important. Like I said, I think there's one more thing about this project that I need to make sure I didn't leave out. Oh, even if we wanted to move forward with the scope of work that they presented, they cannot do the work until they have 40-degree temperature days to do it. So even if we had said 2 weeks ago, when it wasn't long before that they presented to us, they would not have had the temperatures to move forward and do the repair work. So right now, we're at a position we can't do anything with the weather. So this is a good opportunity for us to have it reviewed and determine, is this going to be a scope of work that will give us a solution so we don't have any more leaks? Or is this just going to be a Band-Aid like what's been done previously, and it's not going to fix the roof? I want the roof fixed for 10, 15 years before we have to look at this again. We've got over 20 years left on the warranty. I don't know why we would accept anything less than 20 years worth of work that's guaranteed to us. So that's where we're at. We are. I'm up there. I've been on the roof myself. I've seen the issues. There's a concern about how the tapered insulation has not been installed. Possibly that's something that has to be taken into consideration. That's about a $500,000 job. If that is found to be the problem, And are we gonna try to make them be responsible for it after they did the original roof? Or are we going to end up assuming that responsibility ourselves? Because the ponding will continue if that tapered insulation is not installed. So there's a lot more complexity to it that I've uncovered since year one when we tried to give this to patch it. And now we're looking at getting a better solution, but is it the right solution? So I don't want to come over here and tell you, no, we're just going to take the first thing. I want to make sure they do the right thing. And I apologize, it's taking time. I tell Mr. Harrop, I tell the student, I don't want it to be this way. I want it fixed. And I apologize if it's not.
What about the damage that is done, where the leaks are? Who's going to fix that?
It's a good question. I mean, I don't think it should be us.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Love?
School board pays good money for retirement. Sullivan County pays good money for retirement. I don't think there's any one of us in this room that would sit in their home for 3 years and let water run through the roof into buckets without fixing it. These people are not gonna fix that roof. If it's been all this time and keep putting it off and putting it off, they're not gonna fix it. You might as well sue these people, fix it, and sue them for what it costs to fix the roof. And let's move on. Like Commissioner King said, every single month that that water comes through there and pours into that, it's doing more damage. And it ain't just been overnight. It's been for a long time. And listen, I'm sorry, but I face these parents and talk to them just about every single week on a daily basis when I see them at the grocery store, I see them at the store and other places. They're pissed, and they've got a reason to be. And Mr. Carter, I'm sorry that you got thrown in to some of these messes that occurred before you got here. I apologize for you being thrown into those messes. And you've done a hell of a job since you've been here, and I appreciate it. But we've got to do something for those kids up there. A press box is nice, lights are nice, tennis lights are nice. But you got teachers in that room that's supposed to teach. You got 85% of the kids in that school want to learn. And it's hard to do when there's water pouring down through the classroom and them having to dodge water buckets. I'm sorry. But I'm not going to vote for anything else until, of course, that don't matter, but I mean, I'm sorry.
I would say, Mr. Lowe, we've also very aware of that boiler situation as well. And that's a point that our maintenance supervisor is going to address this year as well. That's probably about a 50, 60-year-old boiler. It's a oil, and it needs to be changed. We need better heating in there as well. So that needs to be done as well.
Mr. Bug?
Who does the priority list for these type of applications for you guys? I mean, who goes out and looks at this and comes back and says, okay, this is what we've got to focus on? And I had a parent tell me the other day that, boy, we're sure glad that school's out for the week after Christmas because East didn't have no heat. The boiler was tore up.
Yep.
It was tore up for over a week.
Yes, sir.
With 20-degree temperatures.
Yes, sir.
Now, what if it hadn't snowed and those kids had to go up there in that environment?
All things that I'm fixing right now. I had no control over them. And we're working on those. Our board's very, very much invested in making that right. Actually, our March school board meeting will be at Sullivan East High School, and we'll be taking a tour of that building. That's the first school that will happen in Sullivan East High School. So I invite you out for that board meeting and take the tour with us. We'll be down in that boiler room. That's probably where we'll start the tour. So, yeah, thank you.
Mr. Ward? I'm your biggest fan. I am. Even though I don't have the t-shirt, I was never given the t-shirt for some reason. It was a select few, but I agree with you. I mean, 3 years, I mean, if I was a parent at that school, I'd be mad. So you were handed a big pile of it. So, I mean, whatever we got to do, and we got a high school that has no heat. And as bad as I hate to say it, if that's what I mean, I agree with Commissioner Glover. If something needs to be done here, I mean, maybe it's time you come to us and we all put our heads together, whether it's a resolution for a new boiler or whatever, but kids gotta have heat.
So I totally agree with it.
And we do have heat there, it is comparatively, so I want to make that clear. But I fully agree with you. I think that's what we've got to do. And there is a priority list being made. We've had an assessment done of properties, and Sullivan East, Indian Springs, Maryview, and Sullivan Gardens are at the top of that list. And it's been done with an architect engineer to show what needs to be corrected.
Recognize Commissioner Crosswhite.
I do agree with Mr. Ward, Mr. Glover, but right now we're talking about the restoration of these ceilings at Central Middle School, which need to be done, so I'd like to just continue this on as waiver of rules, and I'll serve everyone.
Sponsor renews her motion on item number 5. Sponsor moves waiver of rules. Without objection, when the board opens, please cast your vote on item number 5. Has every member voted? Any member wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk.
16 yes, 4 no, 4 absent.
Having received the necessary majority of the votes cast, item number 5 is adopted. Without objection, item number 8. Without objection, recognize Commissioner King on item number 8.
He's still in Mexico.
I'm still getting ready. But anyway, all right. Gracias. Anyway, our sheriff's department, 2 years ago, got into a lease agreement with buying cars, and they opted not to make the first payment. They had other things that was more important to them, and they moved that money, and it was about $400,000. The second payment was made just recently, and so we've got to pay for leased cars. We got 2 more payments to pay for the leased cars, and these cars are basically 3 years old, 200,000 or more. So we're owing for cars that basically has got a lot of wire on them, and they need to be replaced. We had $1 million worth of ARPA money that was going for a shooting range, and talked to the sheriff, and he agreed that the cars are more important than the shooting range right now. I'm not saying that they're not going to do the shooting range at a later time, but right now they need the cars for those deputies. And so with the money that we've got now, going to purchase 14 SUVs for the deputies and 1 Tahoe. The Tahoe will go to the sheriff to replace a truck that he's riding right now. But anyway, the money is there. We can go ahead and spend it, get those vehicles in here for the deputies to ride in, and that way they'll have good, safe cars for the deputies to ride. And we won't have to borrow money, and then that'll give them time to get these other cars paid for. And then at some point in time, we've talked about getting some kind of a schedule where we're buying so many cars every year, and that would take care of a lot of this. That the sheriff's department would have the money to purchase the cars every year, and it'd probably be somewhere between 10 to 15 cars a year. So that would
probably solve a lot of this, and, you know, we need to go ahead and get these cars purchased. It'll probably take, 5 to 6 months to get them in, so, and that's going to add that much more mileage on these older cars, and, I urge everybody to vote positive on this. I think it's something that we need. The sheriff has agreed to it, and we've got the money to do it with. So, thank you.
Move waiver of rules.
Yes.
You've heard the explanation on item number 8, sponsor moves waiver of rules. The floor is open for discussion. Recognize Commissioner Cross.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I actually can say this time around, I remember the last time we did this. And what I was gonna say is, I think I asked this question back then, and I'm glad to hear you say we're gonna have a plan. I'd just like to see it moving forward. When we buy 14 at once, they're all gonna go, the mileage is gonna go out all at once again.
Exactly.
As long as we can stagger the next batch, and I think I mentioned that back, what was it, how many years ago now? It was about 4 years?
At least 4.
4, that's what I thought. So I just don't want to see us getting that road again. I'm not against it, I'm all for it, I'm ready to go for it, but just the idea that those 14, again, will have to be spent all at the same time, again. So if we can come up with that plan, that would be awesome.
And what we would do is, we'd say, we just use, for example, 14. We could do 14 this year, 14 and 14 and 14, and that would get us, we'd stagger, you know, like you said, but that would give us new cars, and when that 4th year comes around, then they could put them wherever, to people that's not driving as much, or in a different position. It wouldn't be where the deputies are having to use cars with high mileage.
Commissioner Jones.
Mr. King, appreciate your work on this. It was, I guess, sprung on the budget committee last night. With no pre-discussion or anything, just if we're going to do this. I had asked the comptroller about the use of the money, and this commission did vote for that money to be used for training for a firing range and a training center. And that's where it's designated. I've got another comment to him. Can it, since it's ARPA money, can it be used for what we didn't vote for it to be? And for that reason, I'm waiting on him to call me back or send me a message today. I'm going to ask you to put this on first reading. I know it's like a lot of other things we do them real quick, but I think it happens so fast yesterday. I'd like to see a little more investigation into it before we vote on it.
Commissioner King.
I'm going to ask Mr. Bailey, since he's worked with all these ARPA funds and when they're going to run out and how long we've got to use this money. So if you could explain that to us, Mr. Bailey.
Well, you've got to start with, you've got certain limitations going up to this particular year here, then you've got so many more years, another 2 years in to get it expended in.
Okay. Then I guess my next statement would be, you know, the sheriff himself has agreed to this and stated that the cars are more important than the shooting range. So that's where I'm going from is, you know, what's most important for the safety of our deputies out here on the road. And I think the quicker we can get these ordered and get them in here, and I'm not saying that we're not going to do a shooting range, but it's just a matter of priority, I guess, Wayne.
I don't know that you can legally do it, since we voted it for a specific thing.
Commissioner King, you have the floor, sir.
Well, and I agree with what you're saying, but we have changed other things in the process of the ARPA. We have moved money from, because if we saw that we couldn't get it done, or there was a problem with it, we'd move money, you know, to other things. Is that not true, Mr. Bailey?
That's correct.
So, with that said, and I'm going by Mr. Bailey, because he's one that's handled all this money, and he and Chris knows this stuff, so they know more about this than I do. But anyway, that's where I'm getting my information, and I'd like to go ahead and pass this and get it, get these cars ordered, and then if it comes back, then we'll get the money somewhere to build the shooting range, if that's what this body wants to do. But I think we need to go ahead with this resolution and get it done.
Commissioner Slade.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think a couple of your comments there were beneficial. Commissioner Jones's comment of, being dropped in there at the last minute. I don't know, however, we don't have a plan, kind of in conjunction with Commissioner Cross's comments. I don't understand, it's called the budget process. We know, if I was sheriff, I'd want to tell you too. So, it's called the budget process. There just seems to never be a plan, and I would encourage you to take it off the waiver.
Are you wanting to help create a plan?
Last time I checked, he has an employee that's supposed to be creating that plan, but if he wants to compensate me for creating that plan, I'd be happy to do it.
All right. All right.
Commissioner Akers and Commissioner Johnson.
Thank you, Chairman. I am kind of concerned about the shooting range, and since it was mentioned in here, I was under the impression we were probably going to see some type of resolution any day about the shooting range. My phone's been blown up for 2 months from the consultants who's doing that shooting range, and this money was specific for that range. That's where my concern is, because I kind of don't know where we stand on the shooting range. I don't know if that's, Dwight, if that's a question for you. Matter of fact, the information I got from the consultant makes me think I forwarded it to Dan Street to make sure it was even a possibility. Because it was going to be a public-private partnership. And so, I hate to see that we're moving this money within 24 hours and with the plan or not to go forward. Now, I don't know, Dwight, I don't know if that's a question you can answer, if that's a question that I would ask the Commissioner Still, because I know he's done a lot of work on the shooting range at one point. Or Larry Bailey, but we do have that hanging over our heads in the future, and that's going to be a very expensive proposition. So.
Recognize Commissioner Jones.
Last night, and I'm not disputing that Commissioner King is telling us what the sheriff wants. But last night, we had nobody at the budget committee from the sheriff's department to answer any questions. And tonight, we don't have anybody here. That's another reason I'd like for us to take this to the work session and have it on first reading. Let the sheriff be here and answer the questions about it. Yeah, these cars are getting some mileage on them. That's true, but they knew that when they bought them 4 years ago, when they leased them. Let me use the right term. When they leased them. And, but I'm not a mechanic. I don't know anybody in here that's a mechanic. Maybe you do have some skills to be able to look at those cars and tell them when they need to come off the road. But to do this in 24 hours, to spend $1 million, to me is a little bit out of line. And that's why I'd like to ask Commissioner King to put it on first reading, so we can talk to the law enforcement officer.
Commissioner King.
I'll put it on first reading so we can get the sheriff in here to answer questions. And I thought that he was going to maybe stay, but anyway, he didn't. But anyway, we'll just do it on first reading.
Sponsor moves first reading and cuts off debate on item number 8. Without objection. Recognize Commissioner Glover on item number 9.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This resolution is to amend the 2025 fiscal year general fund appropriations to cover the cost of a consultant to assist in the development of an updated Sullivan County employee handbook. Reading this, whereas Sullivan County has updated the employee handbook, the last time was in 2005. Many laws and regulations have changed since then. County policies have changed, and I'm not going to read all of that because we talked about this Tuesday morning in the Finance Committee, that this handbook needed to be updated, it needed to be brought to 2025 level. We have a group of consultants that's their line of work, presented by Baker Dawson. I think some of you all are familiar with them and some of the work they do. I didn't know that this was, waiver of rules requested. I'm not going to throw this in y'all's lap tonight. I know they had a budget meeting yesterday, and I knew that we were going to try to get this in everybody's hands yesterday for you to look at before you came in here tonight. So if y'all don't feel comfortable moving forward with it, we'll put it on first reading and do it next month. But it's going to take a while to get that done. And when it is finished, if you'll read on down, the further resolved that the Financial Management Committee, through the staff of the Finance Department, will collaborate with the consultant in developing and updating the handbook to be presented back to this body for final approval. So when it goes through the stages and it's presented back, Finance Committee will look at it, and we'll do another resolution bring before you commissioners in this room for you all to look at and approve again. So the only thing we're doing tonight is approving $15,000 to go ahead and tell the consultant group to move forward with work on the handbook.
You've heard the explanation on item number 9. Sponsor, what's your desire for the resolution?
It's up to this body.
What will you guys make a motion of, either first reading or waiver?
I'll put it on waiver rules.
Sponsor moves waiver of rules on item number 9. The floor is open for discussion on item number 9. Anyone seek recognition? Anyone seek recognition? Commissioner Jones.
I would just say that the Budget Committee last night approved this resolution. So, and we moved it to go on waiver rules also. We knew that when it was written. So,
Right.
thank you.
Anyone else seek recognition? Commissioner Glover renews his motion on item number 9 on waiver of rules requiring 16 votes for passage. Without objection, the board opens. Please cast your vote on item number 9. Require 16 votes for passage. Has every member voted? Any member wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk.
18 yes, 1 no, 5 absent.
Having received the necessary majority of the votes cast, item number 9 is adopted. Without objection, recognize Commissioner Cowell on item number 10.
Thank you, Chair. This resolution is to appropriate up to $140,000 of solid waste fund balance. And the reason being is to cover the cost of 2 new scales, because both of them went bad in a week. And Mark Corbett, the Director of Solid Waste, is here, and he could explain it better.
You've heard the explanation on item number 10. The floor is open for discussion. Mr. Floyd. Before we continue, Commissioner Cotton, what's your desire for the resolution?
Waiver rules.
Sponsor moves waiver of rules on
Because
item
it's
number 10.
emergency, he needs it.
Sponsor moves waiver of rules.
Do you want to just explain?
Oh, these scales were put in probably around 20 years ago. Life expectancy about 20 years. Gordon brought them scales, came in, looked at them, display them from the last cold weather we had. Then the carriages have rusted out of them. And this last cold weather, the water under them froze and expanded. And so we went ahead and finished breaking both chassis to create the scale. So it's going to cost
We're looking around 140,000 to replace both scales. Without them, we're pretty much dead in the water as far as bringing, weighing our trash and home, household waste and everything, and being able to charge the fees. But right now, we're not able to charge, and so we're pretty much giving free trash service. So we need to get this fixed. Looks like about a 3-week time frame on getting them in. We get the money for it.
And they need to purchase them because you can't get parts.
Oh,
They
yeah,
know
yeah,
they're
they just
so
needed this
old.
scale 15 years ago, so
Right.
you can't get parts to.
Thank you.
Okay.
Recognize Commissioner Akers.
Thank you, Chairman. I'm going through the budget, but I'm not. I know we have a solid waste fund, and I know we spent a lot of money on it, out of it, so I just want to make sure we're okay.
I'll check with Mr. Bailey on
Yeah.
pull this out of our fund and we're good with it.
Okay.
Yeah, we did have, we were thanking you all for reaching our budget, but we did run into some overruns in the 2 transfer stations that we couldn't see when we were redoing them. So we instead of making some of the capital purchases we had planned, we just had to divert that money to make it up on some metal work and everything we had to do.
Okay.
This resolution, it was recognized by the whole budget committee also. They approved it.
Sponsor renews her motion on item number 10 on waiver approvals. No one else seeks recognition on item number 10. When the board opens, without objection, please cast your vote on item number 10, requiring 16 votes for passage. Has every member voted? Any member wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk.
20 yes, 4 absent.
Having received the necessary majority of the votes cast, item number 10 is adopted. If everything is correct, that takes us to the end of our resolution calendar. Anyone seek recognition for announcements? Commissioner Akers.
Thank you. Just want to let everybody know, Monday is an exciting time in the history of America. And the Bristol Republican Party is having a watch party here in this room, Monday from 11:30 to 2, to see the inauguration. So I invite everybody to come out. Yep, right here.
Commissioner Cross.
I had a quick question. I felt it inappropriate while we were having the other discussions, but when we talked about the ARPA monies, I remember back when we had that packet that we approved of all the ARPA stuff we did. And as we moved through this, we talked about different ARPA funds for this and that, and like moving from, let's say, a shooting range to this. And I was just wondering, just if we could have an accounting, not at this moment, but maybe by next meeting, of what's still out there, if it's possible.
Yes, it's a moving target, is what it is right now, because one of the problems we got with that thing, we ordered ambulances 4 years ago, and they're gonna be delivered this next year, they say. But, that's been, and we've got some other smaller things. We've got the HVAC up at the health ed building, started 2 years ago, that's still going. And how far it's gonna go, I don't know, but yes, you are in need, and I was expecting to have you a balanced accounting of everything that's left hanging, but it's been kind of challenging to get worked out and narrowed down as to what it is, but yes, I'm working on it.
Is there any way we could get a printout, or is that?
Printout's rather lengthy. Yeah. We've got 2 different persons working, one on the purchasing side and one on the accounting side, trying to bring it together, working it together, and I compare the 2 to make sure that we're getting things lined up correctly and accounted for. But when you look at all the different entities, every fire department, every rescue squad, all of that, most of that's been paid out, but there's a little bit here and there that hasn't been finalized. Just what I'm up against. And,
thanks, sir.
Commissioner Ward. Thank you. We'll talk a little bit about, not as a sheriff's department point, but as a commissioner. We'll talk a little bit about firing range. They have get money on the range down in Middle Landfill and Kingsport got kicked out. Currently, I think they're in agreement with the landfill now here in Waco. But, and they spent money out there, about to get kicked out again. So my comment would be, I worry about entering an agreement with a private individual. If they belly up, we're out again. 28 acres run above the sheriff's department over there. There's already been some rough grading. And I think the people that shut it down should have been the people that shut it down. I think there was one person that was in opposition of it. We've done many resolutions in there where there's been 2 or 3 standing out there in opposition and we've approved it. I think the gas company, somebody said the gas company, so we came to, we spoke to the gas company. There's a gas line that goes through there. There'll be pavement over that gas line. They say it's not an issue. We can dig that gas line up, carry your pavement up, and we'll put your pavement right back, so that's not the issue. I think it had to do a little bit with zoning and planning, individuals shutting it down. But when you've got property already right, no more convenient location. Can't be no more convenient than that right there, right at the sheriff's department. It's time to quit going in with other agencies, other people. Sullivan County Sheriff's Department needs their own range. Quit wasting money. Sullivan County Sheriff's Department's big enough in this area to have their own range. You can't be in business or, and you can't go ask for permission, hey, we've got training next month, can we use your range? No, y'all can't use it next month, you can use it the month after. We're better than that. It's time for them to have their own range. Why it got shut down up there, I have no idea. I think there's probably some people in the might know. But it's time to start really peeling the layers back on that and looking at why it's got source. So, if you don't have officers that are trained in handling the weapons, I'm sorry, go ahead. I know it's all about money, but when we're out here settling lawsuits about shootings and this and that, I don't know that you can train law enforcement officers enough in that situation. So I think we can save the money with what we're dealing with on the other side. Something to think about. Thank you.
Before I recognize anyone else, anyone else seeks recognition, please do. But before I do, if you are planning on attending, if you haven't already done an RSVP for the Kingsport Life Saving Group banquet on the 25th, you can actually message me, send me an email, and I'll make sure you get our RSVP for that at 6 o'clock on January 25th. If anyone wishes to attend, we'll need to get that in for everything. Anyone else seek recognition or announcements?
Adjourn.
All those in favor of motion to adjourn? Commissioner Jones.
Anyone that's wanting to go down to Lebanon on the 8th of February, that's all, we'll be meeting on Saturday, we'll go down Friday. Needs to get with John Osborne to get your room for Friday, and we'll be doing the field review. So a lot of stuff coming up this year, and a lot of, it's going to be big good stuff. And then the next one is the weekend, or the weeks 17, 18?
16, 17.
16, 17, 18, and that's CTASC on the Hill, Government Day. So you need to get with John real quick if you're going to go to either one of those. And since personally, we'll say we got a rodeo this weekend. You need to bring them. Bring those kids.
This weekend.
This weekend. Yep.
Saturday.
Move to adjourn.
Commissioner Ward seeks recognition, and just let you know, we've already done public comment. I cannot recognize anybody from, it
says after resolutions, that's all I'm gonna say.
I can't recognize anyone from the public.
Sam make a motion to adjourn, I second.
Yeah.
All those in favor of adjournment, signify by saying aye.
Been holding.
Aye.